All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining in for another live stream. As you can see here, we have Eddie, the Flat Earth Banjo. Fantastic to have you on, brother. This is a long time coming, and someone that's been involved with Flat Earth for a tremendous amount of time. And like I said in my last live stream, someone that digs deep, someone that really takes a deeper look, taking a different angle than everybody else, and that's what needs to be done when it comes to Flat Earth. But anyways, without any further ado, brother, thanks so much for joining me today.
All right, thank you, Rashid. It's a pleasure being here. Great honor. I want to say you have a lot of people from Brazil actually watching. I saw there. So, hello to the guys in Brazil. Hello to Better Than Gold, everybody in the chat. I had to close my YouTube window. I'll get back later. So, it's a pleasure to be here. Okay.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. And again, we'll be going on for about an hour because of your situation. Coordinating it all, it's going to be about an hour conversation. So I'm going to get right to it. I want to thank everybody for joining in. My main moderator, moderator Ramina's here. Everybody else, Lori Better Than Gold, and everybody from Brazil. You know, we have a few flat earthers here, like Eddie mentioned. There's approximately 11 million flat earthers in Brazil, so we need more of that across this flat plane. So without further ado, we're going to get right to the information. And I'm going to have, we're going to go back and forth a bit. But before we do that, Eddie, I want to really set the foundation of basically how you got involved with Flat Earth, maybe going even back further to your childhood, your outlook on this world, going through school, as far as did you just intake the information? Did you question things? And basically your progression into Flat Earth.
Right. Okay. Now, I never really thought anything was wrong until I actually worked for the airline. Okay, I worked for an airline in cargo and logistics, and that's when things started not making sense to me. But I didn't have a flat Earth map with me. I had no idea about a flat Earth map.
Yeah.
I just found some things weird because of the flight routes. So back in 2015, I was really involved in politics in the U.S., watching all the primaries and Trump and Jess Ventura, all that stuff going on. I was really, really involved with politics, and I started looking at these flat Earth suggestions. I never clicked on any of them, but I started seeing on YouTube the suggestions. But I had a biblical web YouTube channel that I loved, watching, and the person there started talking about flat Earth, but she did not show any videos. She was just talking, and she was talking about this guy called Matt Powerland. And in December of 2015, it was Christmas Day. I was here with my wife, and I told her, "Sit down, let's watch this guy talking here because everybody's talking about this guy." So we watched that video. This it's called, I think it's his WikiLeaks, whatever, and we watch it, and and then he pointed out about the flat Earth map, and that's when I looked at flat Earth map, and then things start making sense to me. Like I went back, I start looking back at those flight routes that I did never understood when I worked for the airline.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like immediately everything just clicked. Looking at this map, looking at the flight routes, I could understand the whole picture. A lot of things that because I worked for the airline back in my 20s, so it took me back like 30 years ago, and I just started, looking at things differently from that time. So you can say that I became a flat earther on December of 2015.
Well, that's about approximately the same. No, actually, 2015. I started about April, maybe it was April or May 2015. So yeah, we're the same year, but basically, you started presenting in 2016. So you got right
16, yeah.
aboard. You got right aboard, soon after producing videos. Because I know your channel was created. This one here that you have, in I forgot exactly what month, but it's 2016 for sure.
Right, yes.
So yeah, that's a important start to getting aboard. But what's really important to me is your background again, being involved with the airlines, You have a master's degree in what, emergency tech,
Emergency management.
emergency management. Yeah, so that's fantastic, to have people aboard Flat Earth that have this background and definitely a master's degree. And this is the thing is, when people usually go through the indoctrination centers, college, university, they usually get programmed where they can't deviate off that. And you were able to do that, which is a very rare occurrence. So that's definitely a good thing. And yeah, and your journeys through Flat Earth, we live and learn. Sometimes we look at information, and the main thing I always tell people is, when it comes to Flat Earth or any kind of truth, is it's okay to come to new conclusions based on new solid information. But one thing is, regarding both of us, is obviously we are Bible believers, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people involved with Flat Earth, that basically dismiss the Flat Earth evidence when it comes to the biblical side of it, and they'll just like we'll talk about people talk about, oh, we need a containment to have a pressurized system, but basically it says in the Bible how there's a firmament, a dome, but they'll basically disregard that and push that aside because they don't want to validate what's in the Bible. It's already there. And I think it comes down to human ego, and people, basically I want to be the one that found out the information and push everything aside. And it's again the human ego saying, I want to find all the information out there, and it's based on me, and push away everything else. And that's again the human ego is a major problem with people. Not only, of course, on the mainstream, it's also on the alternative media side of things. So again, what it comes down to is basically people really need to push their ego aside and go where the truth leads them, and not disregard with the Bible just because you're against the Bible. Truth is truth, no matter what source it comes from, and definitely people that are non-Bible believers, I see that, and that's a major problem to me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Like uh, there is a saying that goes, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. The problem is many people, they rejected Bible as a source of truth for flat Earth, and they end up going. They don't stand for something like, okay, they keep going from this model to that model to that them because they don't stand for something. So they fall for anything. If
Yeah.
comes a guy presents a model, oh, they go after that guy, and then another person presents this model, they go. You know, that's the problem. I think that's my take on that.
Yeah, I agree, unfortunately, but we have to, again, when it comes to this whole situation with Flat Earth on YouTube, just looking at the big picture, being involved with this for so long, is again, I truly believe they have, obviously controlled the mainstream. They're also controlling the alternative media as well. And unfortunately, with the Flat Earth side of things, again, people dismissing the dome, the circular map, which we can get into at any time. But before doing that, I just want to say this, again, you covering Flat Earth for so long, always having that breakthrough information. And today, I'm going to spoil it for people. Eddie has something really good out there. He showed me before the show, actually showed me yesterday through email, that is really just, more fuel to the fire for Flat Earth and the biblical truth. And whenever you want to get involved with that, we can jump right into that. Or you want to discuss some more things before we get involved with that?
No, let's go ahead so people can actually ask questions. So just give me 10 minutes, probably. I'll just
Okay,
present everything I have, and then we get back to you, and then you can ask me any question you want, okay?
sure, sure. You take about 10 minutes. Okay, go ahead. No worries.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. If you can you
Yeah,
throw my
I'll do that. Yeah,
laptop there?
I'm gonna do that right now, and let's go
Okay,
to the let's get to the right one that we want here. Not that one. Let me get the right one. We'll get it. We'll get it.
okay,
Which
okay.
one is it here? Oh, yeah, I
Is
need to
the
open
add
this
his
one.
laptop?
Okay, there we go. And then
Yeah.
we'll get this going here momentarily. Hold tight, everyone. We'll get this, and there we go.
Okay, if you
Yeah.
can uh, make it large.
What I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna remove myself.
I need you to have my laptop on the screen, like full screen. All right, guys, hang on. Russian vids probably trying to figure things out there. Just need my laptop there showing. Russian vids, see if you can have three windows, mine and yours, on the side, and my laptop is the big one, main one. Okay, should I log in again with my laptop?
How about that?
Yeah, but the laptop, you need to show my laptop.
I know
Uh,
this is the problem. The problem is the largest I can get it is like this. And this is the issue I have with StreamYard is the only way we can do it is, for example, if you for example had a pre-presentation on YouTube, then I can show it that way full screen. But otherwise, on the StreamYard side of things, the best I can do is basically this. Or if I remove myself, people
no,
can't.
okay. Can't you just show like three windows, small windows on the side and laptop as the main one?
I'm going to show you every option we have. I'm going to go through every single one here. Watch this. This is me as the
Okay,
presenter. Okay,
okay.
then I both of us, and then all three of us, and then we have this option. These are all
That
the
option
options.
is good. That's a good one. If you can have my laptop right there where you are.
Yeah, let me see if I can move it over. No, it won't let me. As the presenter, there it won't let me do that. Let me see here. You know what? I think I can do one thing. Let me see
Hmm.
here. If I can do this here. If I can, let me see if I can do this option here.
That's how I have done with the other guys.
Yeah, let me see here. Okay, here we go. I
Yes.
found the solo layout. What I did was I had to click on the three buttons because it's not showing on the bottom. I had to go in the three buttons. But here, anyways, never mind. We got it.
Okay.
Sorry about
All
that.
right. Now let me share my screen here. Uh, present, share screen. Okay. Entire screen.
All right.
All right. It should be.
I'm going to add it right now.
Okay. Got it? Yeah. We
There
got
we
it
go.
now.
There we go.
All right, guys. So let me start saying I have a master's degree in emergency management. So I studied a lot about earth sciences. Everything has to do with earthquakes, tsunamis, weather, any kinds of winds. That's why I talk a lot about winds when I'm talking, making my presentations about there is no Coriolis effect, like Earth is not spinning. We have winds coming from west to east, they are called jet streams. And the winds going from east to west, they're called trade winds. An airplane flying straight from north, from south to north, they have to adjust for the winds coming both directions. So there's no Coriolis effect due to the rotation of the Earth. Okay, so I have to study all that stuff. So what we are looking here, this is the tsunami that happened. There was an earthquake in Indonesia about 10 years ago or 15 years ago, a long time ago. So this is the pattern when a tsunami happens. The energy is dispersed equally to every side. Okay, so this means all the waves they keep coming, and one characteristic of tsunami, it wraps around places. This is Madagascar here. You can see how it was totally wrapped around. So this is a definition, the ability of a tsunami wave to bend around and through the islands. It's called the wraparound. So here, image number one, you see the tsunami approaching here, this region. And number two, this area of impact. And then number three, and when it's number four, you see totally wrapped around that region, right? So here, we also have another image showing that tsunami wave is approaching an island. And here we have what we call diffraction or diffraction, depending on where you are in the US. But the islands are totally wrapped around. The water just keeps going forward. Okay. So this is a animation of a simulation. This is Las Palmas, and if a tsunami happens, you can see how the waves and the energy disperse everywhere, goes not just forward but behind. And if we ever happen this uh, tsunami happens in Las Palmas, that's the damage. The areas here in Brazil, Florida, it would reach the whole Atlantic, would cover the whole Atlantic. Now here we have one that happened in the 1700s in North America, okay? It's called Cascadia, North America, January 1700s. So I want you to pay attention here, it's really, really important, right? See the way, the waves, see this is the tsunami, right, coming, right? This is the whole Pacific. Now pay attention, this is Hawaii. The waves when reach Hawaii, it's gonna engulf them, the islands here, and it's gonna spread all over the Pacific. Okay. Now pay attention here that some of the waves once they hit Hawaii, they bounce back, they go back. Okay. Very important information. So pay attention. This is the earthquake happening in this region here in North America, how it spreads out all over the Pacific, reaching Australia right here. Okay, so this is the way it happens. Now let's look at this one. This one is one of the most important one for the presentation today. This happened last year in New Zealand. So pay attention how the waves are going to wrap around Australia. Now, Australia is a big continent. Okay, it's a huge continent. But you see here wrapping around Australia and it's spreading all over the Pacific. Okay, now the point I want to make is this one here. In 1960, we had the biggest earthquake ever to be recorded in modern history. We had a 9.5 earthquake in Chile, right here. Okay, the earth shook for 11 minutes. Now I live here in Japan. We do have earthquakes here. Several times I had to run out of the apartment because my phones all my phones start playing, like the earthquake alarm, but never lasts more than 1 minute. But can you imagine like an earthquake shaking the earth for 11 minutes? So this is how bad this earthquake was back in 1960, 9.5 Richter scale. Now, as we had just seen before, when we have a tsunami, the energy is directing all regions, okay? So you see here the point of the earthquake and the energy going to all directions. Now, if you are smart enough, you might have seen something here. You might have noticed. This is Australia right here. This circle means Africa, and we have Antarctica here. Now, one thing that you're never going to see, let me go to this slide here real quick. So this agency, it's the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. They released this image here of this earthquake in Chile in 1960, showing how it reached all the region of the Pacific. But they divided the map, so you cannot see really well, understand what's going on. So for this reason, I have fixed this, and I created this one where you can see exactly all the region that was affected by this earthquake in 1960. Now, there is something wrong here. When I sent the pictures to RV, he immediately figured things out here. Okay, and I'm going to show you in this next image right here. Just for you to remember that the tsunami, the energy spreads equally to all regions. All right. So what we don't have is a tsunami that wraps around Australia, I mean Antarctica. Never in history has been recorded a tsunami that wraps around Antarctica. So why is it? I'll show you why is it. So I have created this projection here. I changed the NOAA's Mercator's projection into a flat Earth map, and you can understand now why a tsunami never wraps around Antarctica. It's because Antarctica is not a continent. There's no way the water will engulf Antarctica and pop up like I have here. Uh, let's say the tsunami happened here in New Zealand. You're never going to see this tsunami wrapping around Antarctica and flowing, the waves flowing from south. And we never had tsunami alerts here in this region in Brazil due to the fact that a tsunami coming from New Zealand had wrapped around Antarctica, reaching this region. This will never happen. Now, why? Why is that? It's because Antarctica is not a continent on the bottom of a ball. Antarctica is this ice wall surrounding the flat Earth. So it contains the strength of the waters. It's contained here. Okay, it doesn't go. For those who think there's no ice wall, well, better believe it, because that ice wall contains all the strength and the energy from these waters. And actually, if we look at this image here, it not only contains, but it bounces back. Okay, it bounces back. That's why the damage in this region it's so great. All right, for you to have an idea, this 1960 uh, earthquake in Chile, the tsunami took 16 hours and destroyed Hawaii, and another 8 hours it reached Japan. So the next day, we had a lot of devastation here due to the fact that a day before, these waves were traveling and reached Japan right here, but it never wrapped around Antarctica. All right, so I'm going to show here the animation of this 1960 earthquake. And this also I put together because that's not the way they do, but I put together. So you're going to see here that it's contained. Antarctica contains, it's like contains the waves and the impact, the energy within the Pacific Ocean.
Eddie, I want to
Okay?
jump in. I want to jump in 1 second, Eddie. I just want to
Yeah,
mention it's funny how a lot of these maps, these flat maps, Antarctica goes across the whole entire bottom. It's like hinting, it's not like a
it
semicircle on the bottom. It goes all the, it's like they're hinting at us about the 360 ice wall.
exactly. It's a big hint right here. So this is the official animation. You're never gonna see these waves coming from the south and from the Atlantic. It never wraps around Antarctica because Antarctica is not this continent on the bottom of the ball. We have an ice wall, and this ice wall contains all the strength and the impact of these tsunamis. And it happens a lot of times, especially here in New Zealand. We have a lot of earthquakes here, and it should go this way and wrap around, but rather it will travel all the way and reach Alaska and the Bering Islands right here, but never wraps around Antarctica and comes and flows north from this region right here. All right. So basically, it's this thing that I want to tell you guys. We are surrounded by this ice wall, and the tsunamis never wrap around Antarctica because Antarctica is not a continent, And for those who don't believe there is an ice wall, you better believe, because these waters are contained. And that's why you see the damage always made in this region right here. All right. So I'm okay now. RV, you can take from here. You can
Yeah.
ask me questions.
Well, this is really, really just adds to a lot of our research we've done over the years. And again, a lot of people are putting out, the basic information. It's important. Like I said earlier, it's important for people that are new to flat Earth to have the foundational things, um, you know, put out for them so they can understand that the foundational things. But at the same time, such as what you just showed right here, Eddie, this is really fantastic and really breakthrough information, and to me this is just undeniable. There's literally no way around this, and I want to hear the Glober's explanation for this, and I'm sure they'll come up with some fantastical denial of this, and
Yeah, they make things up. They
yeah.
lie.
Yeah, that's what they do when they have no ammunition. They have to rely, no truth on their side. They have to go to the route of telling lies and math equations, and oh,
Yeah,
there was all this ice that was built up around Antarctica, going all the way across the bottom at that particular. There's some kind of nonsense they'll make up, just really ridiculous, something of that sort, which is absurd, as we know. But yeah, I don't think they'll even touch this. I don't think they're, I know they won't. They just will ignore your information about this because they have nothing on this at all. And this is really, again, really needs to be spotlighted. And it's very important for people out there that are listening in to really pass this live stream over, this information over. And obviously, all credit goes to Eddie the Flyer with Banjo for this because, again, there's all these people in the world, and how many people are presenting information like this? Really nobody. And that's why I said it in my last live stream, the number one flat Earth researcher, and no doubt about it, that's what you are. And I know you're a humble man, but me, a lot of people say, oh, RV, he doesn't like anybody. No, it's just the majority of people are pushing not the real truth, not the full truth, and a distorted flat Earth. And I just can't sit by and not say anything when I see someone like yourself presenting flat Earth properly. I'm going to say it. So people might get bent out of shape by my bluntness, but we have to be honest with ourselves and honest with each other, and that's what we need to do moving forward. And maybe sometimes I'm a bit harsh, but because I believe some people out there are just disinfo agents, purposely muddying the waters, adding to the confusion. And again, half truths are, lies to me. So that's what it comes down to when it comes to people such as Alex Jones, David Icke, you name them, just giving partial truth. But again, brother, this is really fantastic. And I'm looking at the people in the chat and, what they're saying, and basically the same thing. And while you're presenting, people are saying, wow, that's, pretty amazing how you're presenting that. And yeah, fantastic, brother. And yeah, definitely. If someone, Ramina, anybody else there, definitely put a link to Flat Earth Banjo's channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. So we can have, basically people jump aboard his channel as well, of course. And so for those that are new to his information, I've already done that several times, but definitely, I said it before, 22, a little bit over 22,000 subs definitely deserves a lot more than that. With this specifically information like this, breakthrough information.
yeah,
All right, I'm
brother,
just
I really
waiting. I'm just
appreciate
waiting for
that.
that. Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm just waiting. It's a little bit delayed on my side. I'm just waiting for someone to go to Flat Earth Banjo's channel and provide a link so I can screen share that. But of course, you could basically just go to YouTube and put Flat Earth Banjo in the search under the channel search, and he'll pop right up. Yeah. So like I said, fantastic, brother. I'm just waiting for someone to put that in there, and we don't see it yet. But no worries, no worries at all. Yeah, what I want to get into as well on my side of things. Let me see here. You're pretty much done. You're concluded pretty
Yes, yes,
much. Okay,
yes. You
I'm gonna.
can remove my
Okay,
laptop. You can remove from the chat
okay.
totally.
Yeah, let me do that. All right, let me Eddie's laptop. Let me remove that because I think we're limited. Okay, I have to. It says kick from. That's the only way I can do it. It says kick.
Yeah, you can. You can. My laptop, you can click out.
Okay, yeah, I
So,
just want to
yeah.
make sure. All right, so what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna get into a little bit more as well when it comes to people that are from your channel as well that will be seeing this tonight, and also obviously this will play continuously, and definitely anybody out there, feel free to download it, pass on the information. That's what it's all about. So let me get to the screen share on my side, and let me go to share screen and what I have to present as well. And let me get right to it. All right. What I want to get into, first off, it's a video you presented. I'm giving, again, this is just a screenshot, by the way. I just want to mention that. But let me do this real quick here. Let me get back here. Nemo's Garden. This is something I really have to credit you again, Eddie. This was something new to me from your channel that you presented. I forgot, maybe it was about a year ago or so, maybe longer. I believe it's in Italy. If you can correct me if I'm wrong, with these basically these underwater domes, correct?
Yeah, it's in Italy.
Yeah, and it's really like it's kind of like deep down people on the inside they're fully aware of the biblical concept, the world we're living in, almost like Atlantis. Now I'm going to show something else. So definitely, oh, here we go. Here, thank you so much, Roxanne, for that. And it's just a link, but just you'll see it right there as far as it's concerned. Obviously, unfortunately, not clickable. Maybe it is clickable on the not on my side, but on the YouTube side, it should be clickable. So definitely take the time, click on that link, take a second, and definitely subscribe to Eddie's channel. So what I'm getting at here is this. It kind of reminds me of this scene. I'm going to stop this now. Again, this is Nemo's Garden, this underwater, these underwater domes. And just so people understand before I move forward, is they're growing plants and there's obviously oxygen underneath these domes. So it's an environment just like the world we're living in. Like the Bible says, the water's below, the water's above. So that gets into this. Let me play this short clip. And this is from the 1999 Star Wars movie, The Phantom Menace. And just take a look here. And it's basically the same thing. This won't be too long. It's about a minute. But when you played that, Eddie, that video showing Nemo's Garden, it totally reminded me of The Phantom Menace, again from 1999, and the underwater world.
I see there.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right, that's pretty much what I want to present there, but basically the same concept. And I want to show something else. Just I'm going to stop sharing momentarily because on topic with Star Wars, I definitely need to, and I didn't have this, unfortunately. Let me see if I can get it real quick. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get it. Let's see here. Hopefully I can get it relatively quickly. If not, I might have to just do it online. Okay, you know what? I'll just do this real quick here. Just bear with me, everyone. I think it's really, really relevant and important to show this as we move forward. People have seen this, but again, tying this all together, I think is really, really important. And I'll just show this image here momentarily. Let me just get this presented. It'll only take a second. People that that are newer to my channel, definitely I think this ties in very well. Let me get back to the StreamYard. Okay, let me go back to present and show this. It'll only take a second to get this. All right. So there you go. So obviously what I'm getting at here is we have that Lucasfilm, of course, that's Phantom Menace, Star Wars from the prequels, and they're basically showing the concept again, just like Nemo's Garden, of the underwater world like Atlantis, and basically Lucasfilm, the dome, the sun and the moon underneath the dome, and it says LTD for limited. So just tying it all together, again, they're not going to tell us, we live in a flat, stationary, God created world with a dome, a firmament, but they're going to show us through symbolism. So I just want to show that real quick. Also, on point here, let me go to the next one here. Let me stop sharing that because I already did that. Okay, let me get back to the other side of things here. And definitely, if you like, Eddie, we can definitely take a look at the chat if anybody has questions for you.
Okay. I want to shout out to Fake Flip. Fake Flip, he made a physics professor in Brazil to cry live, on Facebook. Totally, man. I mean, he's in the chat, and he actually, even though I studied a lot about tsunamis, he is the one who actually pointed that out, like, they don't wrap around Antarctica. And then I looked deeply into that and say, well, you're definitely right. So he's in the chat there. And everybody in Brazil, if you have any questions about it, feel free to write, and I'll try to reply.
Yeah, and definitely feel free to interrupt if you see something while I'm presenting. Eddie, please don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
feel
right.
free to jump in and interrupt at any moment, because what I want to show is a few things here. And this is one thing, again, we talked about, you and I, in video presentations. I want to make sure that's presenting first. Is this nonsense? Like I said in the video presentation, it doesn't work, obviously, on either the globe or the flat earth model. I mean, if this is true Antarctica,
Mhm.
they would have a tropical zone. But what I want to get at here, and obviously too, living in California, as the sun circles, doesn't matter obviously what season it is. I see the sun setting, in the west every day. So this ridiculous, deviation of the sun, people are not thinking. They're just, it's absolutely ridiculous. So that gets into this really quickly. I want to show. Actually, before I even doing that, I want to just show this even when it comes to the equator, because this is a really important thing. Myself dealing with agriculture, I grow mangoes, papaya, avocado, and I know about temperatures and there's ultra tropical fruit trees around the equator. You have the mangosteen, you have the jackfruit. There's many ultra tropical trees that can't even survive in Miami, Florida, which is known as very nice weather and beautiful coconuts. But there's also ultra tropical fruit trees and plants that need that constant heat, and that gets into this from the equator, where the average there's only 2 seasons during the year, and the average temperature in the lowlands is 88 degrees Fahrenheit. Interesting number with the 88. But the main thing is it definitely shows there's a constant heat source. And people talk about light. Light can bend, light can do a lot of things. And I want to get into that right now. Let me see if I can show that. And what people are not understanding is, let me see if I can get to, if I had it here, where did I put that? Yeah, anyways, I'll just use this example. Again, they put the truth in movies, TV shows, music, lies and news in the school textbook. This is from, that happens a lot when I click on one thing. I showed this before in video presentations. And what I'm getting at, I show this a lot with the circling sun. So what I'm getting at here is two things. We're getting more truth from, Hollywood, unfortunately, than a lot of people involved with flat Earth. We see the constellations within the firmament, the circling sun and the moon, and flat earthers are denying this. So again, more truth in movies than we get from the majority of flat earthers who deny God's, not only four corners are presented here, the circling sun and the solid firmament, of course, firm in the name. But what I'm getting at is, as the sun circles around the two tropics and it makes its outward circle, obviously it slows down. So, and also you have the dome and effect. So more light can be reflected off the dome to give more light. Say, for example, that one city in South America that people are talking about, 17 hours of daylight. And that's because obviously the sun is hanging out for a longer period of time on the outer circle. So it all makes sense with the dome. But again, people deny the circling sun. They deny the firmament. They want to deny these things. But again, they talk about, like I said earlier, they always talk about we live in a contained system. We live in a pressurized system. We need containment for that, but it's right in the Bible. But they don't want to go there. They want to deny it because that just obviously proves the Bible's correct, and they don't want to go in that direction. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm not a Bible guy, but it makes sense what the Bible says. They don't say that. They don't even go in that direction. So to me, that's really really gatekeeping to me. Instead of just admitting it, like, yeah, you know what the Bible says matches exactly what we expect, a pressurized system. And also too, which I call the sky clock, which we can see. Well, I mean, obviously, if there's clouds in the sky, we're not going to see. But the Big Dipper, which is viewable, year round, doesn't matter where you are on this flat plane, and that says a lot. But again, we know what this symbol means. It comes from ancient Egypt, and which I believe is controlling it all. Polaris, Lucifer. I talk about it in my Polaris series, where you have the Most High, and you have the Prince of Power in the air, and I believe that's Polaris or Lucifer. And anybody that hasn't seen my video series on that, definitely take a look at that, because it's too long and drawn out to explain here. But yeah, there's definitely a lot to look at. Again, the first, hopefully you guys can see all this good. Okay, good. Actually, I'm sorry, I have to remove that, so it's kind of hard to see. I apologize. The first dome stadium, Eddie, in the world, the Astrodome. So
Astrodome, yes.
yeah, so it has the glass ceiling. It has the glass ceiling. You see Polaris in the parking lot, which is again what I call stars or souls. They're one-eyed God, the eye in the sky. So everything here is present. What I'm getting at here is, let me move this over. And the very interesting aspect is everything is biblical here. So again, they're not going to tell us. They're going to show us in plain sight with the rainbow seats, the reflection off the dome. Again, the glass ceiling. Everything is here for us to see. So when it comes to the Astrodome, is the Stardome. It's like in Hollywood, they call it Stardom after the Star Dome. So everything relates to the stars. And I believe when it comes to symbolism, the most important symbol is the star itself, because again, they're one-eyed God, Polaris, Lucifer. But again, everything's in plain sight for all to see, just like obviously the Sky Dome in Toronto. And they actually have the sun within the D of the dome, a little clue there as well. And and also Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. And actually, I've seen this back in 1985. Thunderdome, of course, thunder echoes under the dome. It doesn't just dissipate into deep space. And you have the man in the middle here, like in the judge's robe, with the Freemasonic square and the compass. So all these concepts are not pulled out of thin air, obviously. I'm just throwing this at people that listen to other flat earthers. And like again, being repetitive here, you're going to get more truth from Hollywood, unfortunately, than a lot of these people. And that's the really unfortunate thing. And again, just for reference here, as I showed in my last video, I know this is the bogus globe map, but again, how the sun runs through the tropics. And this from a video I played as well when it comes to Los Angeles, the city of angels,
Right.
and the Firmament Avenue in front of the church. This is really, to me, unbelievable how they're putting, we have to look at the big picture, Eddie, as well, where like they have, I'm not going to show everything because it's too much, but
Okay.
like, for example, in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, they have the Owl Building. They have the Pyramid Building for the Bank of America. It's orange with 3 pyramid shapes on it. So signs, they speak through signs and symbols, and words are going to keep their mouth shut. That's why they hold their finger to their mouth and just show us without telling us the truth in plain sight. Just want to get your perspective on all this I'm presenting.
Yeah. I watched that one. I want to go back to one comment that you made
Sure.
about the city in South America is Ushuaia, has
Usually.
17 hours. Okay. Now we have there is a difference between daylight and sunlight, right? So the Bible is very clear in the day one there was morning, I mean, it was day and night, but the sun only was created on the fourth day. So we have daylight, even though we don't have sunlight. So my take on that one is that the sunlight and the daylight, the sun travels in sync with the daylight. Okay, but when it's out there, I think it's kind of out of sync. So it delays, even though the sun goes ahead and keeps cycling, daylight is still like left behind. So that's why it gets more daylight is 17 hours. But that's one aspect. And the other one, I think in Peter, I think in First Peter tells that the earth was created out of the water. Okay,
Yes, yes. Water came.
so
Yeah,
definitely the dome, you have to, and ask any architect or engineer, it has to be shaped like a dome, because some people say, well, maybe Earth is, like infinite, and the dome is infinite. It can't be. It has to be a base. It's got to
yeah.
be, because otherwise it would break down. It would fall. Mhm.
Absolutely. And it's funny, all these dome structures, but I want to show this here. Let me see if I can get it. I want this is important because I like to jump around a lot because
Yeah, yeah.
as you speak, and this is something I showed in a video presentation a long time ago. Let me stop screen sharing momentarily because this is right up the alley of what you're speaking about. And and again, they're not going to tell us. Let me see here. Let me close this out here. I got to close out a few things. Yeah, here we go.
Okay.
I'm going to play this and let me present. Let me go to present and only take a second to do this. It's kind of tedious, but here we go. So this is another concept showing us the truth in plain sight. Hopefully, you guys can see that. Okay, this is a video. This is a video I covered a long time ago. I mean, I'm sorry. This is a topic I covered a long time ago in a video with Metallica supposedly playing under a dome in Antarctica. They're like giving us
Mhm.
hints. It's like instead of just saying Metallica is playing a concert in Antarctica, they have to mention the dome. They have
Yeah.
to present it. It's like they're throwing it in our faces, and people have no idea why they have to mention. For example, if they're playing on a regular stage, they're not going to say, "Oh, Metallica's playing a concert on a stage," but they got to mention that dome. Like I said, not to be repetitive, but again, all this truth in plain sight, and also, I'm sure you're fully aware, Eddie, that one encyclopedia was it? I might be wrong on the actual one, but I believe it's Encyclopedia Americana.
I think
Back,
so.
yeah, a year prior to NASA forming, they talk about the distance, the height of the firmament. I don't want to say. I believe they said it's 10 miles up. I could be wrong on that number. I don't want to quote something inaccurately. Um, but with that calculation, people have come to the conclusion that are biblical people. They believe that at the apex of the dome, it's about approximately 73 miles. I'm not saying there's no way to really verify that, but based
Right.
on the 10 miles at Antarctica, this is what they theorize as far as the height. I want to get your thoughts on, this is something we don't really know. It's like people ask me on the globe side in debates, so what's the moon made of? I say, I don't know. I never been there. I'm just being honest. You know, they expect us to give answers for everything, but we have to give honest responses back. And I think people in the flat earth, they want to have answers for everything, but we have to be honest with ourselves. One thing, I'm throwing a lot of things at you. One thing you mentioned about the light dragging. So when the sun's already at a position, that daylight or sunlight, whatever you want to call it, is still behind the sun based on the
Exactly. That's
dome.
that's my view. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. But some have thrown this at me. I'm not saying I believe it, but I'm just throwing it out there that the sun, you know, they show this one diagram where the sun does it like a figure eight and comes back. I don't believe that. I'm not denying that, but I don't think so. I don't see anything that they're trying to like construct something to make it fit. I just believe, obviously, it's like during the Olympics. You see, like for example, the runners around the very large track, where the person on the inside of the track is further back than the person on the outside. So the person on the outside gets a head start because it's a longer loop. So to make things
Right.
even and fair, they give them a head start. And that's just, I mean, it's literally not that far. It's just a few feet difference, but they give them a very large lead to make all equal based on their longer outer perimeter run, while the person that's running the inner circle is a shorter run. So exactly like how the sun and the moon circle around the flat Earth. That's probably the best analogy I can give when it comes to that with the sun. Is the sun basically what I'm getting at is Ushaya is moving really slow. That's like the outer tropic, of course, the extreme, and it's just hanging out there for obviously extended period of time with the help of the dome illuminating even further, like we talked about.
All right. I want to say something here real quick. A lot of Globers, especially Globers and sometimes Flat Earthers, they rely a lot on software. But the thing is, I am always in touch with the guys in Brazil. And this guy talking about the constellation, okay, the Southern Cross. And he was saying, you got to put your phone down. You got to disconnect your computer, go outside and look, because many times what you see in the sky is not what the software is telling you. And for an example is the equinox we had just had on September 22nd. And these guys, including Fake Flip and Bruno, they went out to Macapá in Brazil to observe the equinox, okay, on the 22nd. So on the 23rd of September, when the sun was supposed to be rising from below the equator, was still rising from above the equator, which totally destroyed Stellarium and the sun called, the website, which all had the sun rising from below the equator. So these people rely too much on softwares. It's just like there was a 9/11 documentary I watched it several years ago. I cannot find this documentary anymore. But the guy gave this analogy. Imagine you watching TV in your living room, and on your TV is showing an accident happening right in front of your house. But when you open the window, there is nothing there. Okay,
Yeah,
so obviously that is they're not showing the truth on TV, and that's what's happening. You go outside, you observe one thing, but software is showing something different. So don't rely too much on Stellarium or Sun Calculator or whatever, because they do those stuff to fit their globe model, not the flat
exactly.
Earth
Yeah,
model.
yeah. That's a great point. A lot of people trying to debunk also the AE map. They're going to use,
Yeah,
basically Glober's maps. To me, I don't even like showing the globe map, but it's just to demonstrate with the circling sun how ridiculous it is. With I don't want to mention his name, but showing it basically falling off going towards Antarctica regarding the sun. But it's just I need to show that for reference. And I don't like showing the flat globe map, but just showing how the sun runs through the equator. But definitely, yeah. What it comes down to, it, people, for example, these companies, the foundation is of course the globe. So all their calculations are based off the fake phony globe,
right.
and yeah, and so of course they're gonna. It's like this. Whatever information, quote, science and the so-called institutions put out, everything is based upon that. All the numbers have to equate based on what we're told. So they're gonna like, how can I say? It's like a puzzle. They're gonna make pieces fit to according to the foundation, even though it's going to be off. Obviously, there's inconsistencies all over the place with the ridiculous globe model.
Good, yeah.
Yeah, and any other? That's one thing I want to mention. I want to thank everybody for joining in for my channel, obviously from Eddie's channel as well, and of course, people are going to see this after the fact. And for anybody that's joining in late, you definitely have to watch maybe was it maybe 10, 15 minutes back after this is concluded, if you're joining late, and watch Eddie's demonstration on the 1960 earthquake in Chile, that center from Chile, and basically how everything flew off and how everything basically hit the ice walls.
Exactly. Hit the
And
ice wall. That's the word.
yeah, hit the ice wall and deflected, and basically should have wrapped around like Eddie perfectly demonstrated. It should have went towards Antarctica, wrapped around it, and affected with the tsunamis, affected other regions, but everything shot back up. And this is definitely, to me, one of the out of in recent history, flat Earth being involved since 2015, as far as new information in recent history, this is, to me, right up there. I mean, it's right up there. A lot of people talking about. That's what I want to mention too. I had a few trolls on my channel lately talking about, shadows, sun, moon, and stars, and talking about these luminaries of life. I said, look, this has absolutely nothing to do with the ground you're walking on.
Exactly.
If I'm in my kitchen and I have a light on, I have say a lamp, and I have a light here or whatever, and I'm not going to be looking at, oh, this light is hitting my toaster oven, then hitting my dining room table. So that tells me the ground, my kitchen floor is a ball. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But people are desperate, because I said this before, Eddie. When people get trapped in a lie, they're stuck in the lie, and they're 100% behind that lie. Now they're stuck. It's like they're stuck in a web. They can't get their. It's like a fly being stuck in a web. They can't get their feet out. They can't get their wings out. Now they have to defend it no matter what. That's why I tell people, be careful when you're married to concepts that can't be proven. Obviously, water being level and everything. You've demonstrated today or tonight in your video presentation on, again, the Chilean 1960 earthquake. Fantastic. And please, people out there, feel free to just take that segment, and show that. Please share the whole thing, but share the whole live stream. But even please take that one segment as presentation and spotlight that. I mean, that's something that should be on TikTok. I don't know how long the TikTok videos, the limit is, but if it's up to 10 minutes, put it up there. I don't think it's 10 minutes. I think it's 2-minute limit or whatever, or on Twitter, whatever you can. But definitely share that, and definitely all the credit goes to Eddie the Flat Earth Banjo. And yeah, definitely, it was great to see the ceiling fan man in there as well, brother. Good to see you in there. And let's see what he says here. Yeah, I want to just spotlight this, what he says. Ceiling fan man said that so few Flat Earth channels discuss a biblical Earth. Yeah, and I believe that's by design. That's by design. And I don't mean to be repetitive about this, but they don't concede to say, yeah, we need to have some kind of containment, for this pressurized system that we exist in. And they never, again, just say, on a side note, yeah, it's interesting. The Bible does say that. They just totally disregard that. They don't want to go in that direction. They don't want to give any validity to the Bible whatsoever. And it's obvious. And to me, that points back at them as gatekeepers and shills. Instead of just admitting it, yeah, there's no denying that. The Bible says there's a firmament, there's a dome, and this is true. And they don't want to do that. So that's very troubling to me. And let's see what we got here. I want to see if there's any questions in the chat here for Eddie. And definitely, like I said earlier, if you're joining in late, definitely subscribe to his channel. Roxanne, she put up a link, and it should be clickable because I'm looking right here on the StreamYard side. It should be clickable on the YouTube side. Let's see here. Let's take a look. I'm just looking through the chat here. Anything you see in the chat, Eddie, you want to jump in and take any questions as well?
Okay.
Oh, here we go. I'm sorry to jump in here. Sunflower asked Eddie, how high do you think the firmament is? Because I mentioned 73 miles approximately.
Yeah, I agree with you, about 73 miles, 110 kilometers. That's it. Nothing goes past that.
Remember going back, I think it was 2014 there, Eddie, when they had that rocket launch, amateur rocket launch. Again, 2014, it was a guy named Kai Mickelson, and I covered that, where it seemed, and again, it seemed like that rocket hit something. It came to an abrupt stop. And the camera angle is pointing
Go
down.
go fast, right? Go fast rocket.
Yeah, go fast rocket. And to me, it's interesting the timing of it all. Just like when Obama kept mentioning flat Earth,
Right.
John Kerry mentioned flat Earth. People don't know this. George Bush mentioned flat Earth several times as well. So it's a constant theme where they keep kind of throwing at us. One of the first videos I made, Eddie, on flat Earth, I remember it was at the UN, and it was Earth Day, and this one man, I forgot which country he was from. He had an accent. I believe it was one of the countries in Africa, and he said something along the lines, not verbatim, but something along the lines is happy Earth Day to everybody that believes in the globe. Also, happy Earth Day to all the flat earthers out there. And
Mm.
this is one of the first video presentations I made. I included that in there. And I don't know if it's still out there. It might be part of my 4 hour flat Earth video presentation I made. Basically, compilation of a lot of videos which I put together for that 4 hour presentation. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there. Again, John Kerry, and this is one thing I should forget about John Kerry. I should mention Al Gore, because Al Gore is always
Mhm.
talking about global warming. And I tell people, not only is global warming a lie, of course, the globe's a lie as well. That's how far the lies go. And one thing I want to mention too, before I let you continue there, Eddie, is I'm going to show this in a video presentation in the future. But I watched years ago an interview with the founder of the Weather Channel. I believe his name was John Coleman. I believe it's John Coleman. He went on CNN and basically he said global warming, quote, global warming is a hoax. And he basically blasted CNN and all that. He could be controlled up, whatever the case is. I just find it interesting. But he doesn't go full tilt and says, look, we don't even live, on a globe. And that's because the information that's put out there, it doesn't do them any good for any of these people in any of these professions say, look, this whole globe thing is a lie, because they're pretty much done, and that's when it comes to consensus as well. You can't go against the grain in this world, because it's going to jeopardize your career. And people say, well, someone will talk. There are people that talk, but when they do talk, like the pilots that say that the earth is flat, like that one pilot in the Philippines, and the
Oh,
Englishmen.
several of them.
Yeah, several. And see, people say, well, someone will talk. When they talk, then they just dismiss it. So you can't win with these people, You can't win with them.
All right, I want to answer the question I saw here. Somebody asked me to talk about the moon map. So this is just what I told you. When you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. This moon map, they have a continent called Lemuria between South America and Australia. I mean, everything I showed about the tsunami, if we had the land the size of Africa in that region, everything would change, like it would not be possible. But, I mean, they come up with these maps which make no sense. They don't study, just like I did show that presentation that you probably seen. I don't want to say the name of the guy, but they do no research.
Yeah.
We have to, when we travel, you observe things, you see things. So many, I have flat earth friends who travel from Santiago to Sydney. There's no continent there. There's only ocean. There's the Pacific Ocean. you know but when you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. So anybody presents those crazy models, they just keep going after this one, after this one. Stand with the AE map, the biblical model, dome, and an ice wall. That's what we observe. That's what we can prove it. Even though this information I'm just putting out now, if you look how the tsunamis coming from, originating from New Zealand, they never wrap around Antarctica. They always uh, they are engulfed there, bounce off the ice wall, and go back to regions like Hawaii, Japan, and North America.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I think it's important, and I apologize. I need to stop screen sharing here because I want to get back to. I'm sorry, Karen Lee. Thank you so much for that. So, we're on topic here, and I think we need to get back here. And what we're talking about for anybody joining in a bit late, I want to get back on my side. We can do that and go back to the screen share and show exactly because I have it on my side too, of
Yeah,
course.
you have it there. You can just
Yeah, I
display.
want to show that. Yeah, anybody joining late, and Eddie, please, it's your research, your work, and all credit due to you. And if you could explain it while I go through the images.
All right. So you see there, that was the 1960 earthquake in Chile, and the way they do, this is a image displayed by the NOAA, North. I forgot what it stands for now. Oceanic Atmospheric Administration. Uh, but if you move to the next one,
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think you can go ahead and yeah, that one I put it together, and you see that the Antarctica, even though it's being displayed there on the Mercator's projection, you see that it contains, it doesn't wrap around Antarctica and flows up from the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean, reaching Brazil. It's contained in that region. So when you switch to the flat Earth map, which I have converted
Yeah,
also, you can understand what's going on. So if you can go to the next
yeah.
image, please.
Before I do that, Eddie, real quickly, is the
Hmm,
tsunami from this quake? It
right.
affected how, to the extent, of course, these regions more. But how, I mean, obviously, it went all the way up to Alaska,
Yeah,
all these regions, and obviously, the closer the regions, they got a worse hit from the tsunami. But it just goes
right.
to show when we get to the next clip. I just wanted to set that up
Oh
with
yeah.
this.
If you had a continent in that middle, it would wrap around, you know?
Yeah, it would go. Yeah, it
It,
would
it,
go.
it doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the thing there. This image there that you have on screen, it
yeah,
shows that the energy released by an earthquake and a tsunami goes equally to all directions. Okay, so but as you can see, it was only contained in the Pacific Ocean. It never wraps around, like in this case, Antarctica. Yeah, that's the perfect one. If you can
yeah.
keep that image,
I want to
once
go to
you
the next one
convert,
too. Yeah, I'm going to
okay,
go to the next one too with the arrows to really to really spotlight it with your arrows pointing so people really understand that
that
how
one.
it makes perfect sense on a flat earth that's contained like it says in the Bible in Job where basically where it says God has compassed the water with bounds. So again, it matches what the Bible says matches our reality. So science matches what the Bible says without a shadow of a doubt with what Eddie's presenting here.
Yeah, you can quote that Job even better than me because I don't have right off my mind. I have in Portuguese, not in English, but that's what it is. The earth is contained. There is this circle of the earth, and it's contained there, and all the tsunamis coming from there, earthquakes, it's just contained to that region. Unless it escapes through the South America, the tip of South America going east, or uh, the south of New Zealand going west and south of Australia and Tasmania. But it's contained in that region.
Yeah, I'm going to show that biblical verse from. Let me just find it real quick. So we have it. There's no doubt about it here. And let me get it right here. And I apologize, everybody. There's always a slight delay because I got to find the information. I got to hit on a few buttons and so we can get this properly displayed. And let's see here.
Just like, I want you people, especially Globers, if there is any Glober watching this, just like we cannot fly from Argentina south and pop up in the south of Australia, the same way those tsunamis never wrap around Antarctica and pop up in, south and engulf in the islands like those islands around Antarctica. It doesn't happen because Earth is not a ball, and then Antarctica is not a continent on the bottom of a spinning ball. It's the ice wall surrounded. That's why they used to call it Antarctic Circle.
Exactly. It's called the Antarctic Edge and the Antarctic Circle for a reason. 100%. Now let me. Yeah, I found it already here. Let me stop
Okay.
this momentarily. We're going to get to the Bible verse here, and let me before I even do that. Let me. I'm going to zoom in on my screen so it can be presented because it might be a little bit hard for some to see if I don't do that. So let me get here and get to the yeah. It's Job 26:10, and let me present that. Let me make sure it's presenting and it looks good on that side. So yeah, that's good right there. The King James
Right.
version there, where it states here, "He hath compassed the water with bounds until the day and night come to an end." So and there's other ones inscribed and all the verses, but basically telling us the water has bounds. How does that work on a globe? And this is the unfortunate thing, as we know, Eddie, and everybody else listening in, is we know with this matrix they're controlling both sides, the mainstream, the biblical, not the I'm sorry, not the biblical, but the church, the televangelists, definitely not the biblical side, because the biblical truth it's obviously in plain sight in the real world. But what I'm getting at, the church is purposely um, don't tell the truth about many things that are happening in the world, and they know their role. And this might be not the best news for people listening in, but the Bible's the truth. But when it comes down to it, I truly believe a lot of these preachers and pastors, not just a televangelist, but a lot of them pass through the Masonic Lodge and purposely do not teach the biblical truth, like it says, in many Bible verses. In Jeremiah, it talks about not cutting the tree down from the forest and lining it with silver and gold. The Bible says, "Do not do this." But what do Christians, uh, you know, Christians that go to church do? They do exactly the opposite what the Bible says. It says, "Do not do it," and they do that. So it's just like the school system, where basically, the schools don't deviate from the textbooks, but unfortunately, the churches they deviate on so many issues. Specifically, what I'm getting at is flat Earth and so many other things that doesn't match up. So we have to remember, go what the Bible says, not what your local preacher, pastor, or televangelist says, because definitely it's crystal clear what the Bible says about the flat Earth and so many other things. And yeah, I just want to throw this out there. And there's other Bible verses too that I showed in my a video presentation, and I'll get to that too. If you want to take any other questions from the chat, while I fish out that one video. Oh, wrong one. Sorry about that. I took away the wrong one, Eddie. Yeah, I'm gonna take that one. Sorry about that, brother. See any questions in there? And if you see anything in there,
I
well,
see someone say we do fly southwest and southeast area, but I don't know what the person was saying before. Let's see.
yeah, I
Yeah,
see.
say let me just say that
Sure.
I do study some about the luminaries, but most of my research, as we talked before, is about the ground that we stand on, because flight paths and the tsunamis and all the everything that happens. It's we are not up there. We can't reach the stars, we can't reach the sun, but we can measure things down here. We can observe things, and that's why my research really concentrates where we are, the ground where we are. I do care a lot about the luminaries. I study them, but I don't think that's where we will get most of proofs of flat Earth. The proofs of flat Earth is down here on the ground.
I agree wholeheartedly, and this is one thing that really bothers me. And and like I said, I want to be careful here because you're on friendly terms with people like David Weiss and all. But I watch some of the debates, and I watch people go back and forth. At this frame of time, people are bringing up the luminaries. He should just say, "Stop. What does that have to do with the ground we walk on, the surface? It's irrelevant." Instead of going back and forth of how it works, and this and that, just cut to the chase and say, "Look, it has absolutely no bearing on our flat stationary world we're living on." So, and that gets into someone like Dell, who I always give a hard time because he's pushing a really distorted, perverted version of flat Earth, talking about basically just like the Flat Earth Society. A lot of people newer to this, don't understand, newer to flat Earth, don't understand. It was a flat Earth society that first came up with the concept. What creates the so-called gravity is the Earth moving up, supposedly, and he's pushing that idea, which is setting back flat Earth tremendously. So what happens is you have a group of people that'll listen to you, and they're basically cult members, and no matter what ridiculous things he will say, they'll continue to listen to him. But everybody on the outside of the perimeter of that scope are going to just laugh at him, make fun of him, and you're not going to progress. And this is my concern if we want to move forward and get the real truth out there, is not talk about, oh, what's behind the ice wall, when we have no evidence of it, and we know we shouldn't even go in that direction because there's no evidence. But I believe it's the fantasy is better than the reality, and they want to bring some fantasy into this. And but why even go in that direction when there's no evidence? But when you show biblical evidence, again, not to be repetitive, when you show biblical evidence of a dome, the waters with bounds, they scoff at it. But they have no problem pushing things that are not proven, which is really disturbing to me. So again, the foundation is, when it comes to me, the way I see it is, the real true flat Earth is not going to get out there if the majority of people are not teaching the real flat Earth. This is exactly why what you're promoting, the biblical flat Earth, is so very important to me. And unfortunately, we know what happened. I had the channel with 40K, nearly 40K, and that would have been optimal to have that happen. And unfortunately, that didn't. But we're going to do the best we can under the circumstances to let people know out there. Don't fall in love with personalities. Someone's entertaining. Fall in love with the information, things that can be proven. And that's the problem with a lot of people that leave the mainstream science. They jump into the alternative, and they get stuck in the same rut of following people that are funny, that are quote entertaining, the entertainment side of things, or the quote consensus in flat Earth, that there's no dome. I've heard ridiculous things of people saying in flat Earth. I'll just say it. David Weiss saying, "Well, we don't know what the dome is. It could be a physical barrier, or it could be something that's not even physical." That's in the same realm of science saying gravity's holding everything down. That's what science is saying. It's nothing, quote, physical. It's gravity holding and creating this pressure. And in this stage of the game, it's really disturbing to me that someone that spotlighted would say something so absolutely ridiculous. And again, these are my thoughts. I don't want to start a friction with Eddie, and I apologize, Eddie, because I don't want to start, because you do a great job of not getting involved with this. I'm a little bit too blunt, too hot-headed, and everybody has their place, and I definitely don't want to have you have friction with anybody. So anybody that's listening in here that's passed around, these are my thoughts, and Eddie's, he's presenting the information. These are mine. As this is my channel, I'm presenting my own. So I don't want to have that mixed up. And this is just my frame of mind of how I see things. Being involved in so long, it's just kind of like my personality kind of just, I'm like this. Whatever I think is what I say. That's just kind of how I've always been. And it's going to create friction with people. But to me, this is the way I've always been on every facet in my life. Anyways, before I keep going on and on, definitely let's take a look here. Any other questions for Eddie in the chat? And definitely subscribe to his channel if you haven't already. Just not Google, but put in YouTube search Flat Earth Banjo, and you'll come across his channel right away.
Yeah, it's a shame that you lost your 40K channel, but you'll build it up again. And, I'm gonna have a edit version of this chat and put on my channel, and just shorter. That's what I mean.
Yeah, but, because a lot of times there's glitches with live streams, like when I'm presenting something doesn't go right or this or that. Yeah, definitely feel free, obviously, to take it and to present it nice and clean, because live streams are never clean. It's just without any net. But definitely please do that. That'll be great, brother, for sure.
Yeah. That's what I will do. And also, I did the same thing when I went on Ferret Radio Live. I added all the stuff that was going on, But yeah, I'll do it this week.
Yeah, that'll be
Uh,
great. And I appreciate you putting up, that clip from my last live stream up there,
yeah,
and putting out there. Also, I want to mention too, besides that one, of course, I had one with the one prior was 50K, the one prior to that was 83. I had a backup at 72, and many prior. So it's just, unfortunate. I don't want to say too much, but this is expected, in my position. I just have to just roll with it, and it's a kick in the stomach, but just keep moving forward. That's all we can do. And again, especially we plan to do it on the 40K. But nonetheless, it's going to be presented on your channel, and I appreciate everybody that's subscribed to my channel already, and it's going to be growing, and it's going to just get larger. And I appreciate every single one of you, and obviously you for being here, Eddie, my first guest on this channel.
thank you. I So I just want to say something else. I did apply a while ago to have my channel monetized, and they will not allow. And I got an email back from YouTube. They were explaining that my channel is not due to the fact that the material that I upload, the sponsors would not like it. But the funny thing is, the email that I got from YouTube, when you see the email address says Flat Earth ban. It's like they have a department within YouTube
Oh,
that deals with banning whatever flat earth stuff it is. I found
yeah.
out, yeah, man, they have this department there, I guess.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate. All the time, energy, and effort you spend into it, spend on doing this, and
Yeah.
yeah, they're really bringing the hammer down on. But they'll monetize all the junk. A lot of nonsense,
Yes.
the stuff that's literally brain dead, and they just want to keep society dumbed down, distracted with football, baseball, basketball, any kind of entertainment. But the funny thing is, while these people are being entertained, sometimes then they'll have the basketball player like Kyrie Irving say the earth is flat. They'll have a B.O.B. the rapper, but you could tell they're put up to it. Like specifically B.O.B. the rapper, because after he came out with his quote, his music, we know it's not his because, the music industry is controlled and there's too much at stake to just let these so called artists just put out whatever they want. But what I'm getting at is, it was painfully obvious when they interviewed B.O.B. on a radio station about flat Earth. He couldn't answer the most simple thing. They actually, it wasn't just a radio show, but they actually filmed him while he was speaking. He was smiling, had this really nervous kind of laugh, and he really couldn't answer anything. He's like, I'm put in this position. It's like the duality aspect where they put the truth in entertainment, but he had no knowledge on flat Earth whatsoever. So it's like, the people that, sign my, pay my salary, sign my check, they put me up to this basically. And I have no idea what I'm supposed to say or do. And it was pretty embarrassing. And also, of course, Shaq, we know, keeps talking about flat Earth, but he shows off his Freemasonic ring. So, again, they're going to put the truth in the place where no one's going to take it seriously. And in my, with my channel, people know this going way back. I said this where, when Flat Earth first started up, it started heating up. I said, this is going to go mainstream. You're going to see celebrities talking about it. And the first one was Tila Tequila. And
Yeah, I remember.
yeah, that was the first one. So they're going to have someone that has basically no credibility, a lot of issues, put that information out there to make it look less credible, of course. And we shouldn't really rely, of course, on celebrities. It's good if someone legit came out and really talked about it, but they're just gonna have, I don't want to say it, but like they're clowns, the ones that have a very bad image in society come out and say it or not taken seriously, and that's the unfortunate thing, and that's hampering the movement. And that gets into, again, I'm gonna bring this up. They had a flat Earth meetup recently, I believe it was in South Carolina. And I'll just say it, the place looked like a concentration camp on the outside. It was like a Shriners Club. And I'm not going to mention the names, but some of the big names were wearing Freemasonic fezzes and with a 32 degree of Freemasonry on their hat and all this stuff. And yeah, that's not cool at all. You know, there's thousands and thousands of institutes. There's thousands of venues they can go to. Why pick a Masonic Shriners Club? They've done it before with a pyramid. Was it some pyramid restaurant, or pyramid building, or pyramid hotel, whatever it was. The same thing, you know. And they're making jokes about, you know, 666 and you know, how they're shills, and this is not something we joke about. You know, that's something that's, to me, unacceptable. You know, and you know, if you're the quote leaders of the flat Earth movement, I've never came out and said anything of that sort, like, oh, I'm part of the Illuminati, and I'm, you know, that kind of stuff. It's just, it puts a, you know, real damper on things, and it doesn't help at all. It doesn't do anything, and just, you know, to me, they're turning it into a clown show, and don't want to talk about that too much, but you know, we want to progress and move forward, and that's what I really want to do. Again, spotlight what you're putting out there, and you know, no nonsense. We don't need nonsense. This is very important. This foundation of the world we're living in. This is the foundation of the world. If you have the foundation off, everything else is off. I said that many times, and people just making a mockery of it. I don't have time for that.
Right. I want to say something here about the TikTok videos.
Sure.
Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. I just tried to put together what I could find, and that's going to be it. I don't think I'm going to be bringing anymore because I can't find anything that's nice. You know, what I could find, I put it together, and some people will make one video only about flat Earth and make 50 about vanity stuff. You know, so it's very hard to find them. So I'm not going to be bringing them anymore. But I tried just to put it together what I could find that I thought was good enough. But there is a lot of junk on TikTok, a lot of anti-flat earther as well, things, videos over there. So I don't encourage people actually to spend too much time there unless you're researching flat earth like I did. But that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah, I'll just say this about TikTok, and I truly, unfortunately, you know, don't want to say this, but I'm gonna have to. I believe there's a few individuals that are serious about it, serious about flat Earth, but I think they're using it as a stepping stool to promote themselves. You know, and that's what I'm concerned about, because when I first got involved with truth, even prior to flat Earth, many years ago, you know, it wasn't about me; it was about the information I present. I don't want to be a star. I don't want to be a name. You know, to me, it's again about the information. So what I'm getting at is, a lot of people are sitting back and watching how, quote, conspiracy and flat Earth is getting a lot of attention, and they're like, well, you know, my channel's not really getting a lot of attention. Maybe if I start talking about these things, and I don't want to say that for everybody, because it's not just flat Earth, it's all the full spectrum of truth. The conspiracy realm, a lot of people are jumping on it because it gets a lot of clicks. And I want to make sure that people that are involved with this are serious. They're not just doing it to get them advanced. Because here's the problem. I'm not going to mention names this time. A lot of people that were involved with flat Earth that are no longer around, some people still around, they have a background in Hollywood, or trying to be in Hollywood movies. They've been in movies. They're aspiring rappers. They're in the entertainment industry, and they're using this to kind of like bring a spotlight on them. They're using this, and they're not really serious about it, you know? So again, not mentioning names, you have someone promoting flat Earth to flat earthers, but when they talk to CNN, oh, I don't want to be a flat earther. Who wants to be called an idiot? So they're just, you know, they're just going with whatever direction of whoever they're speaking. They're going to tell them what they want to hear, pandering to the audience. And to me, that's unacceptable. I present flat Earth the same to flat earthers as I do to non-flat earthers. I'm not going to say, oh, I don't want to be an idiot. No, there's nothing to be. There's nothing. It's like, why would you say that unless you want to be part of the crowd? You want to be part of them. You want to be one of them. I don't want to be one of them, the lost people in this world full of deception. You know, so we don't want to be part of this nonsense and try to pander to CNN or any of these people. But anyways, let me get here. This is what I wanted to show. First off, this biblical verse before I'm going to show a couple more things here, but I want to show this. Let me get back to screen share. And this was played in my last video, but I think it's really important to spotlight once again here, because again, people talk about, many things about flat earth, but here's from the Bible here. Let me see here. And it says here in this one verse, the sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasten to his place where he arose. That's the King James version. But basically, how the sun circles around, and again, I showed the circling sun, and so there's a lot of proofs. There's many proofs, and we can go over all of them. I've covered them a lot in previous videos, but there's so much evidence showing that and proving that in our reality. And again, a lot of people adding the confusion, trying to debunk God's flat earth and give a distorted perspective. There's something else I wanted to share. Oh yeah, obviously, this is what I want to share. All right, let me stop that momentarily, and I want to get back to screen share real quickly back again. And this obviously what people need to go to, and is right here, as we all see. And that, brother, is your channel. So
Thank
definitely, definitely. No, brother. I mean, right there, you put Psalm 19:1. Obviously, that's Werner von Braun's tombstone. And again, it's hilarious to me how the head of NASA, head of rocketry, is putting this on, has it on his tombstone. And I'd really like to know the dealings of who actually had that put on. A combination effort by his family, the people within the government, putting this truth in plain sight. But obviously, what it comes down to is rockets are just meant to just go into the sky enough where it looks like it's going in space, but it comes down off the coast of Florida into the Bermuda Triangle. And that's why I said it many times. They put a bad stigma on the Bermuda Triangle. So, let's not go there, but really there's a bunch of rockets, dispensed in that region. So there's a reason for everything they do, and having that mystique. And what's funny is I showed this one comic book from back in the 60s. I believe it was the X-Men. And they show a map of the Bermuda Triangle, and they have an island in that region. And it says Freemason headquarters within the Bermuda Triangle. So I'm not saying it's physically actually there, but it's interesting, like the tie with Freemasonry in that region. This is way off topic, but the deception of like aliens and within movies, they push all movies are about propaganda, but like the alien movies made by, of course, James Cameron. So we have a movie based on outer space aliens, and during one scene, they have this one man speaking, and he's wearing a Masonic ring. When he gives the bird to, one of his fellow men aboard the ship, he's wearing a Masonic ring. So they're telling you this is just like with Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, where the man within the Thunderdome is wearing the square and compass, like wearing the judge's robe. What I'm getting at is it's a Freemasonic deception of outer space aliens, and it's a director producer, James Cameron's behind it, and they're showing you with the glimpse on his ring with the Freemasonic ring, in space. It's just, and we know Buzz Aldrin, so it ties in with the Masonic deception that's happening with Roswell and everything else. So yeah, it's but really what I'm getting at is I'm really so very glad to have you on my channel, because I read the comments on your channel underneath the video that you put out, where people say, Russian vids, he doesn't get along with anybody. I'm like, yeah, because not many people are speaking the real truth. So I just have to be real about it. What do you want me to be, fake? It's not a good look, Eddie, and everybody listening in, for truthers to be telling lies, for truthers not to tell the truth. So that's where I jump in, and like, if I see something and it's way off, I have to say something. I can't let it go. It's going to cause more problems for me, but it's for the sake of truth, and it's not for everybody to do that, because it really is it's more stress on the individual. Everybody, dogpiling, attacking me for it, but it's okay. It's okay because I believe it's for a worthy cause, to really, promote the real biblical flat earth truth. And great to see my brother in there, Rise Melbourne, in the chat, and RV is in the house. The man is back. Thanks so much, brother. Great to see you in there, and everybody else. Aleko, and as you all can see, I see you all jumping in a little bit late. Definitely, as you can see, we have Flat Earth Banjo Eddie, a Brazilian living in Japan. He's obviously does fantastic work. That's why I have him on my channel. And definitely, if you're joining in late, like I said many times already, you got to watch the very beginning. We presented again not too long ago about Eddie's discovery, his research on the 1960 Chile earthquake, which basically supports, without a shadow of a doubt, that we live, within God's created 360 domed flat Earth ice with the ice ring, ice wall wrapped around it, and just you got to take a look at that with this presentation, and really fantastic information. And like I said earlier, with all the people on this flat Earth, no one else has presented that or came up with that, and that's really to me very impressive. Yeah, and let me definitely I'll do that. And Eddie, you want to jump in anytime? I'm going to add some wrenches to some of my longtime followers and former mods. I'm going to add them as moderators here.
Okay. RV, I just want to tell you,
Sure.
it's 11:54 here. Is that okay if I go for another 5 minutes and leave?
Sure. How about
About 12
you could?
noon, my wife comes home at around 12.
So what do you want to do? You want to recharge? You want to charge the batteries more and come back, or what do you want to do exactly?
I can. Depends how long you're gonna stay, but I just wanna just give a shout out to some of the guys, not just the guys who are here on the chat, but also all the guys from Flatten the Curve, the documentary we put out this year. We had all those subject matters experts. We had 4 pilots. We had Jay, the radar expert, and the submarine guy. It was an amazing job put it together. And I did get some people who are trying to come out and say it, but sometimes they fear for their lives. This happens too. So I want to give this that. So if you're gonna stay longer, I'll try to come back. I need to charge my phone a little bit.
Sure, I'll
And
stay on. I'll probably stay on for a bit more. I usually do long live streams, but in this situation here, I don't want to run too long. But here's the thing: is the reason I said that because if people see the video, the live stream too long, I'm afraid they're not going to jump aboard regarding your followers. But since you're going to play this on your channel, you're going to edit. It'll be
yeah,
perfectly fine. So what I'll do is I'll go on for longer. I'll at least wait till you come back, and you can take I don't know how long do you estimate, half an hour, or what do
yeah,
you?
it's about 30 minutes at the least.
Perfect, 30 minutes is good, and then I can keep rolling here with other topics, flat Earth. But I cover a lot here, so no worries, brother. I'll let you go now. Thanks so much,
Okay.
brother, for everything, and I'll definitely hold tight until you come back.
All right. See you in a few minutes. Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. All right, perfect. That was fantastic to have Eddie aboard, and yeah, no worries, brother. Well deserved. Yeah, well deserved, and thanks for that as well. Great to see you aboard here, the True Seeker 69, and born in 69. Just want to make everybody very clear on that because that was always a topic of discussion, and you definitely clarified that. And let's see, right, Rise Melbourne, great to see you in there, brother. Are you kidding? You've been such a tremendous supporter of the channel. Definitely, thank you for that. And yeah, let's see what else we got in here. Let's see here. Yeah, you know what? I'll just say this. I'm going to put this in here. This is definitely not required, but I'll just throw this in here for anybody. moving forward with the situation. Um, and what happens here is, and I'll just let me see here. Let me do this here. Yeah, anybody that wants to contribute, definitely no pressure whatsoever. So I don't have on this channel, I don't have the super. So, if anybody moving forward, again, no pressure whatsoever. And what happens here is it's going to be sent to basically to my phone, and I could just read it off here with what I have on the screen. And yeah, let's see who else we have in the chat. Yeah, Ryan, great to see you in there. God bless. Take care. And let's see what else we got here. All right, Ryan, you got there. And take care, Sunflower. Like I said, Eddie will be back probably in a half an hour. No worries, India. We had a little bit of an issue, but no worries. I mean, what happened with Dave Jays, what happened, and I don't hold a grudge. No worries. And Romina El Despotar, on that most exciting hobby and very healthy, breathing the ocean breeze. Yes, very good, clean air. That's what's very important. Like on the topic, let me just stop this here. Let me stop that screen here. On the topic of breathing air, definitely the ocean air is fantastic. People that live more inland, like for example in Arizona, unfortunately, they have in a place like Sacramento, California, Arizona, they have issues with stagnant air. Obviously, not the best thing. So living by the coast is definitely a good thing, having that fresh air. And it's so nice to have Tiffany Freely in here. Thank you, RV. Thank you, Banjo. Yeah, Banjo will be back, like I said. So he'll be back about a half an hour or so. And again, thanks so much for that, Roxanne, as well. Definitely click on Flat Earth Banjo's link, and you'll definitely come across very good information from a very good man in Eddie. Like I said, Brazilian living in Japan. And yeah, a lot of tremendous work. I mean, and to me, he keeps it simple. But he's extremely intelligent. But to me, it's like this. And I don't want to give everybody a hard time in Flat Earth. You got to present the information so a 5-year-old or 85-year-old can understand it. Because if you try to like a lot of people like to flex their muscles, that people try to flex their brain and show how quote intelligent they are, smart they are. If what you present in Flat Earth cannot be absorbed by the listener and basically presented, for example, you have some great information on Flat Earth and you want to get it out there and you have a lot of people listening in. Well, if the information is so complex, and it can't be basically demonstrated from a viewer to, say, family members or the people on the streets, try to keep it simple as possible. And that's the way I always been. Keep it simple, and it's going to be obviously easier to digest and absorb and to store. A lot of people make it unnecessarily too complex, and there's instances where there's no way around it, but try to make it easy to digest as possible for the listener. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, I see my great brother here, Billy Zig, across the pond in Australia. Hey there, Russian. Hopefully your channel builds up again. So thanks so much, brother. I appreciate that. And this is a man that's been around for a long time. He's in the same realm as Eddie. Um, level-headed, not a hothead like me. He's been on debates where, like me, I'm again too much of a hothead. Where even Globers, Billy's such a smooth guy, you can't hate Billy, and he's just cool as a cucumber, and speaks to Globers in such a way that they can't even give him a hard time. So, I know Billy. In certain situations, you had to stand up for yourself. You told me about that one time. I think it was at the billiards place. There's a time and place for everything, and you definitely stood up for yourself. And yeah, you present yourself very well, brother. and definitely your book. Definitely want to promote that. You want to send a link to Amazon, and definitely beautiful book. And I appreciate you sending me your book, brother. So definitely, if you put a link to that, and I'll definitely. Well, actually, let me see here. Hold on here. Let me see. Let me see if I can find Beyond the Elusive Curve. All right, this is going to be the easiest way to do it right here, brother. Instead of sending a link, I'll just screen share it here. All right, let's do that, and it's going to be well deserved for a very good man. Let's do this here. Let me see. The Elusive Curve, as you guys can see that. Hopefully, you guys can see that good. Is that coming in? All right, I gotta do this, and I'm sorry, brother. It's only for you. I gotta zoom in this a little bit more so we can actually see. And you had a lot of sales here as well, which is fantastic to see. I don't know why it's not zooming in. There we go. That's a little bit better. And yeah, and the release date September 25th, 2019. Hopefully, you guys can see that good. And definitely check out In Stock and The Price is Right. So, and my cover is a bit different. The one you sent me, but I'm obviously the content. And there you are. There's the man right there. There's the man of the hour, Billy Zig. Um, and yeah, Greek heritage as well. And I know he enjoyed my pizza video with the Greek pizza. All right, so there's the book, The Elusive Curve: A Modern Day Quest to Discover Another World. Awesome, just awesome. All right, there. And let's see here. Let's scroll down here, see what we got. Oh, you're welcome, brother. It's well deserved. And again, I appreciate you sending me the book. And yeah, it's well deserved. Someone, here's the thing is, I'm just gonna be very blunt. Billy's been he goes on my channel, goes to other flat earth channels that maybe I'm not in the best terms with. But the thing is, we all can learn from others as well, even though we might not be on the same page. But to me, it's again getting back to the foundation of having Eddie Flat Earth Banjo on my channels, because I think it's so important to get it right. If you're joining late, I said it a few times, I'll say it again. Why is someone like Dell dismissing? He talks about pressurized system. We need containment. Well, then why are you denying what the Bible says about there being a firmament, a dome? Why not just concede and say, hey, you know what? I'm not a Bible guy, but the Bible already it's been in there for thousands of years, but he's want to go in that direction. And Dell always talks about exploration. We need exploration. Well, when are you going to start? You've been at this for 5 or 6 years. When are you going to start that exploration? And his goon in the chat there, what's his name? Beyond Belief. Oh, we need exploration. Same thing. He's just a little muppet in the chat, but I don't see them doing anything. What are they waiting for? They've been at this for 5 or 6 years. They need to get off their butts and start doing something about it instead of talking. So, you got to back up, what you state. And, it's simple as that, and I'm a pretty easygoing guy, but, I have my limits, and people said under, Flat Earth Banjo's channel in the comments, how RV doesn't, get along with many people. It's because I believe many people are not telling the real truth. And that's, on purpose, just giving half truth. And that's by design, where again, they're controlling not only the mainstream, they're controlling the alternative media. That's what I think was happening. That's, to me, it looks too obvious, and something I want to show, it's going to be off topic, from Flat Earth, but we'll jump aboard Flat Earth again. But I want to show this, since it's a pretty hot topic right now. Let me show this here. And this is just telling you, and let me share this here. Just give me a moment, everyone. Why is this? Let me stop sharing. Let me do this here. Just hold tight, everyone. I'm going to share something, and you're very welcome once again, brother. Well deserved. And let me present something here that just basically further demonstrates what you're dealing with the world stage. So you have Elon Musk here for Halloween. Let me try to zoom in a little bit more if I can, if you guys can see that. But basically, he dressed up in this several $1,000 Baphomet costume, and you can see the upside down cross and the goat's head. Okay, so there you go. Like it says in the Bible in Matthew, where basically the sheep go up, and the goats go down. So obviously, that refers to the Baphomet's hand going up. That's for the sheep, and the hand going down. But basically, obviously, Jesus separates the sheep from the goats, and the goats go on the left hand path, and that's the whole idea of Satanism. So let me see if I get some other images here. But yeah, supposedly, the the owner of Twitter, that's all meant to take place on the world stage. And yeah, you're not going to make it big unless you sell it, of course. And here's his mom as well, and it's just a satanic freak show, And obviously, he wouldn't make it this high up unless, he didn't sell out long ago. So not very simple. And I don't believe Elon is, it's like this, almost like a president, where there's really people behind the scenes running things. He's basically the spokesman for a lot what's happening with SpaceX, Tesla, and all these other companies. Yeah, so he's just, in the same realm as a stooge, a puppet on the world stage. And yeah, that's what's basically happening here. So yeah, and one thing I want to mention too, I should show this. Let me stop for a second with that. And I'm going to show this as well. SpaceX. So this is a real important thing that I showed years ago. It's the same level, the same concept, but not so obvert. Let's get to the image here first before I even talk about it. So yeah, anybody that's been around long enough, seen my presentation on Elon Musk, SpaceX, and of course he has a Dragon capsule, and this complete garbage nonsense. I mean, CGI, and fake space, but it's like, where it states in the Bible, how that great dragon, the old serpent, was cast out. So again, it's obvious why they're picking these concepts with the dragon. It's kind of hard to see, I know, on everybody's side there, but definitely getting back to Elon Musk and his Baphomet goat's head with the upside down cross, and of course Halloween being a satanic, a holiday, but it's over the top to basically, it obviously gives them good reason to, display his true colors, pun intended. So yeah, that's basically, if anybody doesn't know about that, that's just goes to show he's been highly propped up, highly pushed on the world stage, and that's for there's a reason for that, because he's a complete sellout. And one thing I want to mention too, here's maybe even a better shot of, again, the dragon that was cast out, and it's also obviously the exact opposite, where the dragon was cast down to earth, and now it's ascending, so it's like coming back up to the heavens. So there's always like the inside type of storyline with all these concepts that they're pushing. But yeah, it's just, it's clearly obvious. And one thing I mentioned in my last stream, when Elon Musk had this one meme where, it showed, the OJ Bronco chased, and he had all these captions of, fabricated news, staged events, but it's funny coming from a person that's staging, or his group is staging, faking space. So it's completely hypocritical for him pointing out, quote, fake news, fabricated news story, staged events, when he's part of it himself. What a joke. What an absolute joke, and an absolute clown. And you go on Twitter and you see all these goons that are like, completely support. Maybe there's a better to spotlight that to really support Elon Musk, and he has millions of followers and people worship him. And I've heard people say this. I'm not saying it myself. Like Elon Musk is the Antichrist. To me, it's gonna be someone that comes out like out of nowhere, and he's been around for quite a while. So I don't think it's Elon, but you never know. We'll have to wait and see. You know, we'll have to wait and see on that. All right, let's take a look at the chat here, and I want to thank Fake Flip, for definitely joining in and supporting the channel, and of course Eddie mentioned you as well, so I appreciate you jumping aboard with information here as well. So it says here, for those who want info on Satanism in English, I have a playlist named, and I believe that's Brazilian Portuguese on a channel, Fake Flip, read testimonials of satanic kids. All right, brother. Thanks for that. Definitely subscribe to Fake Flip, and definitely, obviously you can just, go on YouTube and put down Fake Flips, channel in the search, and take a look. Or also, of course, please, if you can, Fake Flip is just put a direct link to your channel in the comment section. And thanks for that again, Fake Flip. Hilarious though, Rancho Pedro. Yeah, 66 likes, 66 likes. You've been exposed. I don't even want to say this. I shouldn't say it, but I was a little bit creeped out because when I started the stream, I saw 666 subscribers. I'm like, give me a break. You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. But let me take a look now. Hopefully that number has moved. And yeah, it's off that number, and that was not good. And hopefully it didn't stick there. All right, let's see who else we have in the chat. All right, let's see here. Yeah, they all do that. All these, Satanists there, they're promoting the agenda, I mean, it's really, really sad to see that. Let me see here. Hold on. Let me take a quick peek here. Just give me a 1 minute. Just bear with me. Or hold on here. Just be a second. All right, let's take a look. All right. So again, yeah, Karen Lee, I see your message there, and what's happening here is this. It's and I'm putting in the chat again, and that's my and that's the Cash App there, and again, it's not required. But what's kind of spooky is the Cash App. When you go to that site, just like all these companies, they got the all seeing eye, the pyramids, all that stuff. And I have no control over that, of course. And let me see here. John 14:6. I'm going to have a video soon that I think the Antichrist is King Charles or someone closely related to him. Let me just, and the chat's moving kind of faster. Let's say I had an experience. Not only that, I only had one, but I can share part one. Yeah, it only makes sense. The Blue Bloods, which of course we believe, with all the research we've done, is the fallen angel bloodline. It only makes sense that someone out of the royal family would be the Antichrist. That's from the seed, like I said. So it makes sense. Like people talk about Prince Harry. We'll have to wait and see, but it wouldn't surprise me if out of that family, of course, it's the actual literal bloodline. And we know this, It's not just them. There's, offspring, offshoots, with the whole family. Trump, Hillary Clinton, they're all related. Even Obama, with what's his name, Dick Cheney, all of them. So it's just some are more, how can I say, closely related. So yeah, definitely, it only makes sense that a prince or a king of this world would rise up as the Antichrist. That makes perfect sense. But again, we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. And it's great to see Frank Censored here. Thank you, Frank, as always, sharing my videos, saying hey to Ramina. Always sharing my work, and I appreciate you, brother, for that so very much. A great man in Australia, and I believe I have a bad memory of your exact location. I believe Melbourne. You probably told me 3 or 4 times, but I forgot. You could be in somewhere, maybe the Gold Coast. I forgot, but I believe Melbourne, because most people, from Australia are from either the Gold Coast, Sydney, or Melbourne. And I think there's a few from Adeline as well, 1 or 2 from Adeline. I'm probably butchering the name. Is it Adeline, whatever. But anyways, Frank Censored, great to see you here, brother. Oh, that's right. And I'm so sorry, Frank. You told me many times Brisbane, and you are there in the on the east coast there. So yeah, I apologize. Oh, there we go, Adelaide. That's right. I apologize, Rise Melbourne as well. Yeah, and yeah, a lot of great supporters over the years from Australia. And I'll never forget this. When I was covering what happened with Jimmy Gargasolis in Melbourne, and I was doing a lot of videos, covering, like, for example, the man on top of the building filming what was supposedly going down. And then you do a little research, you find out he's part of the Australian Navy, and, the department he works for. You just basically, everybody involved with that PSYOP, they have media relations. They're part of the media, or they're part of the military. And yeah, what I'm getting is I really broke it down with many videos on Jimmy Gargasolis and the whole circus with the supposed car ramming. We didn't see anybody actually hurt in any kind of CCTV. But what I'm getting at is, yeah, a lot of people in Australia. I had so much support from so many Australians, and yes, hey, if you ever, if you're ever in Australia, I'll buy you a beer, buy you dinner or whatnot. And that was, yeah, I really appreciated that outpouring of support. And PK covered that as well, but at the time he was, having issues, so I was really hitting that really, for a very long time. JD, great to see you in there. I appreciate your support as well. Of course, I was on Rockfin, but there's too many glitches on there. It's a nightmare to try to do live streams there, and just trying to get on Rockfin and upload a video. I use Wi-Fi on my PC, and a disconnect. I have so many issues. It's a real I hate to say it, a real pain, for myself, and I believe it has to do with the file sharing. So what's happening is, what I'm using, and I talked to John 14:6 about this, and he's the one that explained this to me, what's happening. So when you go on Rockfin, they do a file share for bandwidth, and it eats up my bandwidth, and it shuts off my internet. So, it's not conducive to a good relationship when that happens. And also great to see you in there. And thanks again, JD. You've been a great supporter, and I appreciate that so very much. And let's see who else we got here. A man that's been around for a very long time, Neck Spasm. Don't get hit by the spiders, though. I'm not sure. That's probably from a comment above. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Yeah, thanks, Frank. I have, over the years, so many people, follow my channel, and I just can't remember every little detail. But yeah, I'm pretty good with. It's like this. My long-term memory is very good. My short-term memory is not very good. I'm bad with names. I'm bad with remembering people's names. Like I'll be like at a social event and three people will introduce themselves to me. And then like a minute later, I'm like, I forgot all their names, especially when there's three of them shooting their names at you. It's not that easy. All right, let's see what else we got in the chat here. Eddie should be back hopefully pretty soon. I think in about 15 or 20 minutes. Let's see what else we got in here. All right, let me just scroll up here. Let me take a look. All right, let me take a look at what's being said here. And thanks so much, Mike D. Great to see you in there. It's been a while. Much respect to RV. Thanks so much, Mike D. You've been around for a long time. Great to see you in here. And let me see what else. Like I said, and again, there's no, as everybody knows, there's no super chat here. So again, no pressure whatsoever on that. And let's see who's we got here. In the Rise Melbourne, I didn't see this until now. The way it works is you have to be monetized to have the super chat. It's not about how many followers you have. You have to be monetized, and this channel's not monetized. So that's basically what it comes down to. Oh, and thanks for that, Aleko. I'm glad I saw that now, and I'm sure many have clicked on that link. And the important thing is, this channel, of course, I'm new to YouTube. I'm brand new here, and I've been on the quote internets, like George Bush called internet. He calls it the internet. But yeah. So what I'm getting at is, this is my first live stream on this channel. So moving forward, definitely, hopefully this live stream will get more traction and more people will see the information, specifically what Flat Earth Banjo presented. I think is, great, solid. I mean, it's without a shadow of a doubt we live, in a contained, not only, dome system, but obviously the 360 ice wall is without a shadow of a doubt, proven in the real world. People talk about the Bible proof. It's again what the Bible says matches our reality, and definitely that was a really good find, a really good thorough investigation by Eddie the Flat Earth Banjo. That's right. Do not be sheeple. That's correct. Absolutely. This is one thing, Green Flowers, regarding the Most High in Genesis. Of course, the original diet is a plant-based diet. So a lot of people talk about vitamin B. Oh, you need vitamin B. It comes from animal product. That's another lie. Because obviously the original, if you believe in the Bible, you know what the Bible says. That was the original diet in the very beginning. So, that's one thing to scare people off. Oh, a lot of people are afraid of malnutrition, if you just have a plant-based diet. So I just want to throw that in there as well. So that's very important, of course, to me and Ramina, my main moderator, as well. Let me take a look here on the YouTube side of things. Just give me a minute here. I'm going to flip over because I'm on StreamYard. Hold on here. Indiana, I just added you as a mod. Right now, the only one, but here's something I should mention. If anybody wonders where I'm at on YouTube, just go to my RV Truth on Facebook or Russian Vids on Twitter. If you're like, oh, is this the real one or not? All you need to do is go there. Yeah. And also too, yeah, definitely I see a comment here. Yeah, I'll definitely stay away. Hold on. Definitely stay away from goat milk and leave the poor little goats alone, and prefer to. I like oat milk. Oat milk. For anybody that drinks almond milk, the next time you go to the store, yeah, Green Flower said it. Yeah, and Ramina, and with the heart, the love, definitely try oat milk. To me, it's really amazing. Um, Almond milk is also very good, but I really like oat milk and rice milk. Those three are probably the best. Rice, almond, and oat milk are my favorite non-dairy milk. So definitely look at those alternatives. They're the best ones. All right, let's see what we got here. Yeah, D. Smith, that's absolutely right. That's the funny thing. Like I said earlier, him trying to like quote call out fake news. The big thing to me is, obviously he's part of the fakery, and he's talking about staged events. What a joke, But again, they're always creating heroes, and people fall for them every time, unfortunately. And thanks for that, FEMA Region 4. You've been around for a long time, and I appreciate the love. Thanks so much. Yeah, actually, no, fake flip, no bipolar, but I know a lot of good people that are. It's not something to frown upon. Good people, have the bipolar. No, no, no issues like that. Yeah, it's amazing. I told the story before. When I was very young, there's something that happened when I was very young that I remembered. And I'll just tell this story. People that know me personally know about this. When I was very young, there was a repairman that came over to the house, and I vividly remember he had like, almost like an afro. Um, he had like a this plaid shirt and these blue jeans and a plaid shirt. All these things I remembered. So I mentioned to my parents about this. I said, "Yeah, I remember this. I was very young." And they told me, I gave the description of what they purchased. It was a sewing machine that needed to be installed. It was a professional sewing machine. All this stuff. And they told me the year they bought it. It turns out the year was just a year. I was only 1 year old. So I was describing all these things that were happening with this man that came over my parents' house that brought in this professional sewing machine, and not knowing I was only 1 year old. And remember that. And Eddie's back, so it's great to see you there, brother.
Hey, how
And
are you?
great, 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 great that you're back. And people were wondering where you were, and I told them you'll be back.
Yeah, it's back at 57% now, about 30 minutes charge. So,
Good. So okay, you have about 30 minutes.
now, yeah, it's 57%. So, probably 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Yeah, just going
All
through the
right.
chat, talking about a lot of different things. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I'm showing. I think it's really critical. Um, I think it's so important, even though some flat earthers don't cover the other aspects like I do. Like, for example, Elon Musk, he wore this Halloween costume that had the Baphomet head on the middle and the upside down cross. And if someone's going to be propped up so much in society, they're going to obviously they've done a lot of selling out behind the scenes to get in that position. What I'm getting at here is, though, Eddie, is if you look at my share screen, is you see the dragon capsule. Obviously,
Yeah.
the dragon in the Bible, of course, it states how that old serpent, the old serpent was thrown to earth. So it's like mockery when SpaceX quote goes back into space, and ascends supposedly into the heaven. So that's why they use obviously that dragon symbolism with the blue dragon on the capsule itself. But obviously, there's no deep space, and they don't go into space. So, but yeah, what I'm getting at is the whole apparatus from Elon Musk to the churches, the televangelists, and they're controlling. Very importantly, I'm mentioning how they're controlling the whole entire matrix, where we do not find or minimal, because there's obviously Dean Odell, one of the few that's promoting the flat Earth truth, and that's unfortunate because um, all these preachers, all these televangelists should be pointing out the flat Earth truth, but we're going to have to do it because they're obviously not going to do it.
Exactly. This is interesting because it's just like the Bible says. If they don't claim, the rocks will claim. So we are the rocks. They should be uh, putting this message out there, and they are not. So we are the speaking rocks. We are the ones speaking because they are not. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, and unfortunately, they have the airways. They have the control of the minds, and they have the consensus. And again, they're controlling both sides, and that's one thing that people don't understand. And trying to explain to many deceived church attending Christians about flat Earth, and boy, I'm sure you experience the same thing, Eddie, where a lot of these church going Christians get very angry, very upset because the conditioning, the bad stigma that's being placed on the truth, and they won't even listen to the information. They're already
Exactly.
rejecting it. They reject it before it's even presented. So it's like when you're in that point, it's like, where do you go? And you end up losing them as friends. And now it's like they look at you like, oh, you're crazy. But without them looking at things, and like the Bible says, question all things, and they're not willing to question it. And I always look back at the one Bible verse, about those that reject knowledge, and how God rejects them for rejecting knowledge. So when I mention that, then they're like, I've seen some people I mentioned flat earth to that are Bible believers, church going Christians. I mentioned that, then they kind of calm down a lot. They calm down a
Mm.
lot when you throw that at them. So yeah, I think sometimes the best way to go is a slow reveal, because if you put too much out too soon, they run. I kind of use the analogy of jumping into a swimming pool. It's too much of a shock to the system. So it's like you got to expose NASA first, and then before jumping on flat Earth. But obviously, if they believe in the moon landing, it's a very difficult. Um, it's a very difficult to get them aboard flat Earth if they believe in the nonsense moon landing.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
an
If they believe that stuff, I mean, they will believe any crazy
yeah.
thing.
One thing I liked is you had that one interview that got a lot. I think it has 53 or 54,000 views on your channel with the Japanese woman that's a flat earther.
Right.
Yeah, that's stuff like that. Giving a perspective of ordinary people out there that are willing, that have the courage to speak the truth, and put themselves out there. And that's
Yeah.
that's really good to see. And yeah, just want to ask you about your dealings with your family, other friends, the good and the bad and the ugly, with all of it with flat Earth.
Okay. Well, when in 2015, 16, when I started doing this stuff, I just told my whole family, and my nieces in Brazil, they will say, yeah, yeah, we agree with you. And they are not, they don't voice out like me, they keep it to themselves. Like my daughters are totally on board, but they, especially my youngest one, she's just turned 17. And she comes home and says, "Oh, Daddy, they're teaching all about those planets, all that stuff. It's cool." I say, but you know the Bible, you know what the truth is. Just go along, take the test, do whatever you have to do to get out of high school.
Yeah.
Just don't believe that stuff because it's all fake.
One thing I always try to really like, without saying the Earth is flat, I try to like throw like plant little seeds, nuggets of truth. Like when people say gravity, and I tell them, I say, gravity is just weight. The foundation of gravity means it comes from the root word gravitas, which means weight or
Right.
heavy. So when they hear that, I say, because I hear like somebody I know say, oh yeah, and when the water comes down and then gravity pulls, I'm like, it's just weight. You know that, right? And I explain the whole terms, the terminology, in the root word of all this. One thing is, I know we don't want to get in this subject, but I think sometimes it's good to interject things like for example, the moon landing, and when Buzz Aldrin says, he told that little 8-year-old girl it's fake, and how they show all the landing spots on the moon, but when they show the horizon from the moon, it doesn't make sense because basically their heads would be pointing straight down to Earth from their position. It wouldn't be.
Exactly.
It doesn't make
Exactly.
sense. And one other thing too is we don't want to focus on the luminaries too much, but they say there's no up and down in space, but all we see is with shooting stars coming straight down. I said if there's no up and down in space, we should see a shooting star going up, straight up, going at a
Exactly.
like say
All the time,
yeah
just
we
like fireworks.
yeah we should see them going at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. We don't see that. They're always like
Exactly.
4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. We never see them at obviously not noon, 1, 2. It doesn't happen. So and here's the real important fact about us and presenting information. It's hard to condense it in a very short conversation for them to understand. It's like attending a university. It's not something someone's going to get. First, you have to drop the bad stigma, and you know, it's someone told me before. It's like a parachute. You got to, an a closed parachute never works. It's your mind's got to be like a parachute open to work. So that's the same thing
Exactly.
with the mind. But what I'm getting at is in a 5 minute, 10 minute, hour, 5 hour, it goes beyond that to really see this. And the important thing is this, I'm going to say this flatly, pun intended, is the people that talk about flat earth, you really have to understand you got to present imagery because imagery sticks. When people just say words, they're on like a debate or they do a live stream and they're not showing images, a lot of that goes in one ear out the other. It doesn't stick. But when you see things and it's presented, and that's big to me, is that's why I love your work so very much. You're showing, and I know how much time and effort you take as a video producer myself. You take a tremendous amount of time, like you showed the video um, of family and friends in different parts of the world, in the U.S., Japan, and Brazil, and you all see on September 11th. Interesting, you all see the moon at the same time, and
Yeah.
that's working together. But what I'm getting at is your video productions are so well done, and the editing is, I know, so much work. And what people don't understand is sometimes you can make a 2-3 minute video. It can take hours to make just to find the right
Takes hours. It does.
yeah,
Mhm.
just to, and I know your graphics take a tremendous time, but they really hit home. They really put they cement it because words, like I said, they can enter your mind and leave, but imagery really sticks. It really, really sticks. And I think that's important, and that's what it really comes down to is anybody out there making flat earth content, please, if you can, you know, show imagery. That's really going to help to go along with what you're speaking about. Because unfortunately, like I said, I watch people talk about flat earth, a lot of words, and that's it. You got to go a little extra. And actually, sometimes when I'm doing live streams, I'm talking about flat earth, I'll actually stop and find imagery to back up what I'm stating. And not to go on too long about that, but the importance of and that's why I love your work is the imagery along with the solid information. And while you're gone, I was really promoting, again, your channel, and
Thank,
also, yeah, you're very welcome, and also your information, basically breakthrough information regarding the Chile 1960 earthquake. Once again, I keep repeating it because people are joining in. A lot of people, like I see, Wilma Chaffin, who's been a longtime follower, just joining in, and definitely anybody joining in late, you got to watch the very beginning of this live stream, and definitely take a look once again at Eddie's demonstration of the earthquake from Chile in 1960, what shows the waters and how they react, the tsunamis, how they react, and they don't go through Antarctica. Around Antarctica, they all shoot up. And basically, you got to watch the information. Actually, while we're speaking, I'll just show it so people can see that while we continue moving forward. And we'll just skip through it. And anything you want to cover as well. Um,
I just that's why I always display my Gleason's map, because when I first saw this map, it changes my whole life changed when I saw this map here. So imagery is really important.
Yeah, you know what? I'm glad. Before I start screen sharing, I want to talk about the Gleason's map because I'll never forget, and I'm sure you've seen it too. In 2015, an older man had a video, and it had, I think, maybe 500,000 to 1 million views. I forgot the exact number. It had a tremendous amount of views. It was titled "Flat Earth Map Found in Boston Public Library." It was a man with a pen, an older man with a pen, talking about it and reading off things, reading off the information. And as you can see, that print for the, and I think it says it right there on your map as well, with the print from the Boston Public Library, correct? The
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah, right here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. And that's what he was showing, and that's what has really been obviously spread out across the internet. Definitely, that's the one. Yeah, and so I'm going to get to the presenting once again from StreamYard. So, let me stop with this one and get back to share screen again because I don't want anybody to miss this. This is really the most important aspect of our live stream today. I'm going to go over it once again for anybody joining. I know we show this a couple of times, but we've been going on and there's a lot of new people joining in and definitely do not want to miss this information once again, which Eddie provided. And I'll just run through it and jump in actually, Eddie, anytime. But if anything I forget or I miss, but again, this is Eddie's work, his discovery of the 1960 earthquake. Is this what's basically part of Chile? Is this Santiago, Chile, right here? What's the
Uh,
epicenter of you recall offhand where the epicenter
uh,
was?
yeah, yeah. There's a city name here. Let me show you.
It's
Let me
around,
just
yeah, it's
read to
around
you.
Santiago though, right? It's around that area.
Yeah, it's called Lumaco. It's 38 south degrees parallel south, 38 south, 72 west. The name of the city is Lumaco. That's where the epicenter was.
Okay, and how far is that from Santiago?
From Chile. Uh, Let me check here real
Maybe it's a
quick.
suburb. I'm thinking maybe it's a suburb or around there.
Lumaco.
But Santiago's a little bit north, right? A little bit north.
Yeah, yeah. Let me see here. It's about. Give me just a minute.
Sure, take your time. I'll just jump in here and say it's very interesting because a lot of talk about um, the so-called direct flights from.
It's actually it's 6 hours south of Santiago.
Oh,
It's
really?
much closer to Antarctica than I thought. It
Wow.
should definitely have a wrapped around Antarctica.
Yeah, and that's the point. And again, this is Eddie's original work for anybody joining in late. He sent it to me yesterday, and we displayed it, or he displayed it a couple times already. Basically, with obviously with the earthquake, tremendous 9.5 on the Richter scale earthquake off the coast or off Chile, and the tremendous tsunamis it created. And I'm going to get to the next. I'm going to go through each image as we go through it. I'm going to break it down because he already broke it down, and you see how it looks like on the Mercator map and how it's, basically riding off Antarctica. And I mentioned before, it's funny how a lot of these maps, they have Antarctica going across the whole entire thing, not just some little half circle like it's presented on a globe. It goes across. It's mockery showing the 360 ice wall. But
You see how they show the Arctic? It's always tiny, but Antarctica covers the whole thing.
yeah, it's really funny. It's really funny how they do that. And also, I'm sure there's islands we don't even know about in all over the
Yeah.
place that it's off limits. And pilots don't even know, obviously, unless they're directed to go there, like select pilots for these islands. I'll throw this in real quick, just a quick little caveat. I watched that movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, and he's like a genius. Arnold's like a genius in the movie, and he says he's from a remote island in the South Pacific. He gave the coordinates, all this information, and there's no such island on a real quote real map. And I wonder if he's
Right.
actually giving the coordinates to a real to like one of their special places. Who knows? I don't want to get off topic off what we're displaying here, but moving forward here, you see how The tsunami works its way all the way to Alaska, up to Russia, Japan, all these different parts of the world on the Mercator map here. But interesting enough, as Eddie demonstrated, what should happen here, obviously, if this is the epicenter, it should go in all directions on the fake phony globe. It should literally wrap around, and it's obviously much closer to Antarctica. So it should obviously disperse in every which area, and it does not do that, as you see here. And this is really, it's really important to really spotlight this, how it looks like on the actual flat Earth map. Makes perfect sense. Whereas basically, I don't want to say this, like a toilet bowl. It's hitting the rim and going in other directions. That's a bad way to put it, but this is kind of like, we see the path, and definitely with the arrows. One thing I didn't show is your other images too. Maybe we should go over those too, if you want, Eddie, as well. And here's the arrows pointing, obviously, away from the ice wall. So here's Chile, and it's working its way up. So obviously, this 100% supports the biblical flat Earth, and the circling map deniers, the globers, they're going to remain silent. They'll try to fabricate something, or they're either going to remain silent or fabricate some nonsense, some math equation, or who knows what they'll come up with. Because I'm sure there's going to be someone, some glober that'll come across this and try to debunk it some way, but there's no debunking this at all. So that gets into your other images here that we didn't actually, and I'm sorry, maybe you want to go across these again here, the ones you sent me here. Oh, here's just another. Yeah.
If you can zoom in that one, it just explains, the point I want to make with these arrows on that Gleason's map. You see how comes from the Vatican, from Rome, okay?
Yeah.
So the globe is not really a science. It's like more of a political field, because that's how they conquered, They brought the globe, and hey, big shout out to Billy Zig in Australia. Big shout out for you, Billy. So it just works as a tool for the, Vatican or something. So there is no science in globe. And the reason I showed you the other one about Commodore Perry also.
Yeah, I'm going to get to that one now.
Yeah, please get to that one.
And unfortunately, I can't zoom. All I can do is blow this up the best I can. That's the best I can do, unfortunately.
So that's Commodore Perry right there. The Japan didn't want to have anything to do with globe, with heliocentric model. China didn't want to have anything to do with them. But what did they do? They forced, the Commodore Perry arrived in Japan, and they bombed 2 cities here. They say, you better open up, or we will start bombing more cities. And once they got in Japan, they literally destroyed the flat Earth conception that they had. They had physical models in temples around Japan, and they physically destroyed those. There are only 5 left here in Japan. They are, in museums from that time. But they had those models all over Japan. So the globe Earth heliocentric model is not really science, because if you don't accept it, they will bomb the heck out of you, into accepting it. That's the thing about it.
Yeah, that's the thing is, obviously, they're pushing this philosophy, quote philosophy, all across the flat plane, and it's complete mind control. And going back in time, of course, all these ancients knew the Earth is flat, and then this ridiculous globe, which all they did was obviously they wrapped a flat map around a ball.
Exactly.
To me, it's like a crystal ball. It's like the devil's deception with this ball, and they love the concept. But one thing I want to stop and say this before we continue. I said this before, but I really want to apply this to flat Earth versus globe, where they tell us Earth is very old in science, but biblically it's relatively young. They tell us the sun is far in science, but we know it's relatively close. They tell us we live in a ball when it's flat. So they work on the duality. And if people cannot see this consistent, they teach that we came from monkeys when it says in the Bible we were created. They say we have no souls when we have souls. So everything's based on duality. So all the check marks on the opposite, but people can't go there. And for me, this is why all the other truth brought me to flat Earth, because I knew we were being lied to in a grand scale. So why would they be telling us the truth about living on a ridiculous ball? So I want to just throw that in there before you continue on with you being in Japan. And that's another thing I want to ask you. Being in Japan, learning the language must be a real challenge. You speak English, you speak Brazilian. How fluent are you in Japanese, and to convey the flat Earth information over to Japanese speaking people?
Okay. Now, I'm gonna tell you about it.
Sure.
My wife's family, very traditional parents, Japanese, all that stuff. So initially, my my mom, especially my mother-in-law, she didn't want my wife to marry me. She wanted my wife to marry somebody who was Japanese, you know.
Yeah.
So we've been married for 26 years, but
Wow.
in the beginning it was very hard. And my brothers-in-law, I can say that they never fully accepted me, they're really Japanese guys. And that
Yeah.
I'm not saying that all the Japanese are like that, but my wife's family was very traditional, very, very traditional. Eventually, we got on fine, especially after my daughters were born. But the beginning was very hard. So I was more into learning Japanese and speaking Japanese before, because it got to a point where I felt like no matter how much I tried to learn the language, to live the customs, to please them, it didn't work.
Yeah.
So I decided, just like, I still speak some Japanese, but I'm not as fluent as I wanted to be because of this problem. I've
Yeah.
always felt like, well, I'm trying so hard, to be accepted by especially by her brothers, and no matter what I do, they view me as, a non-Japanese. So I had a lot of problems with that, which made me kind of, well, but I do get along with a lot of Japanese here. We speak English a lot of times, and we have a Japanese community who are flat earthers. Some of them are very vocal, but most of the Japanese, they don't. That's the culture. They don't try to push their culture on you. You know, they
Yeah.
leave it to themselves. But we have meetups sometimes, and we eat Japanese food. It's really fun. We sit on the like Japanese styles, and but that before YouTube censored, I used to get 50, 60,000 views on my video. Now it's 2,000, 3,000 views.
Yeah. I know
You know,
exactly. Listen, when I first made my first flat Earth videos, you know, I put this one video: the flat Earth is the biblical truth, and the globe is the devil's deception. That received like 500,000 views. I had videos that had so many views, up to 1 million. My one on SpaceX saying how when SpaceX did their first launch, I said this is basically globe Earth propaganda, showing they always show the side angle of the globe. They never show straight towards the ball. It's always those either left or right side angles. They want to show the so-called curve of the globe. So even though it was based on SpaceX, I said this is ball Earth propaganda. That received 4.5 million views on that video alone. So people mock and ridicule, but it's like this. I knew this. You're gonna take a lot of backlash in the beginning, even from my own followers. But I said, you know what? I'm not concerned about that, because if I through my investigation I find this is the real truth, I'm not afraid to speak it, no matter if people unsub or whatever. So we have to speak the truth, that's proven to us that we can prove. And just because some people don't like it, that's their problem, not ours. So, but
yeah,
getting back to Japan, I understand. Like in California, there's a lot of Chinese, Japanese, and they're very
Japanese, yeah,
they're very traditional. and a lot of times, like in Japan, they don't want like someone from the outside. They want to keep it pure, whatever. But I totally understand, and here's the thing: is people from the outside, they always want to get involved with other people's relationships. They want to control other people and that kind of thing. But it's great you guys been together for so very long, and just you got to live your life, and everybody again wants to it's like people don't have control of their own lives. They want to try to dictate to other people's lives, something along those lines. But yeah, it's great that you're passing on the information. Like I said, that one very popular video you have, with the Japanese woman with the flat earther, and so much more you're doing there. And it's great that that you're doing that there. And here's the thing: is you have obviously a lot of Brazilian. You being Brazilian yourself, obviously have a lot of supporters, and so obviously you being in Japan, it's great that you can do your observations there and communicate with people back in Brazil on quote on the other side of the fake globe, and that's awesome. So a lot of people, like say for example in the US, they're trying to figure things out and they're communicating with people that are in the same country. It's really not as helpful. So it's really a great thing that you're in Japan, and yeah, it's great networking. And
One thing I want to point out,
sure,
the Southern Cross is seen from Okinawa. I'm
yeah,
wearing a Okinawa shirt today,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's impossible on the globe model. You cannot see the Southern Cross from Okinawa here in Japan, but it's seen from here. So it's another win for flat Earth right there.
yeah. I always tell people it's you know they always talk about you can't see quote Polaris from the southern hemisphere. I'm like, there's no southern hemisphere, but it's perspective. Of course, we know this, and no matter what you tell these people, it's just like the Coriolis effect when they tell us, with the planes, we ask them, for example, if a plane's flying from, say, London, England, to Madrid, Spain, you're going from north to south, and say for example the runway in Madrid is going north south. We asked these globers, how does that work with a spinning ball Earth? And they say, oh, the plane's moving with the atmosphere. Then you say, what about the Coriolis effect? And it's like, oops. So it's like, and this is the thing: is a lot of people that try to tell me, like on Twitter, other platforms, and I mention this, and they're like, yeah, I don't have an answer. And this is privately. They won't say it on a public forum. This is people that are hardcore globers. They say, yeah, I can't explain that. I don't know. Yeah, and that's a real, there's many proofs like you demonstrated with the, and maybe you want to get into the emergency plane flights,
Landings.
landings. Yeah, with the landings, and you obviously have a book, on that. Let me see if we can. You want to share that, or what are we going to do here with that? Let me see here.
Uh, I didn't send any pictures, but I have yeah, I have it online. If you go to any of my videos, I think the very first link has a map. No, not the first link. Let me check.
Let me see here.
The emergency landings, I put it together because since I did work with the airlines, I started looking at all the flight routes. I just documented them. I had it all documented. And so I say, I think I'm going to put it together as a book.
Okay, I
And
found it. Yeah, I found it here. Actually, this is on Lulu. Let me see if I can
yeah,
just. Let me see if I can. Let me take this off here, and I definitely want to promote this because it's definitely one of many proofs that you presented, and that's what I try to explain to people. Is
go to the free, there is a link there. The
how
very
about this
first
one?
emergency landings proving flat Earth, right there. Drop up. It's on Dropbox. Yeah, that's Lulu. If you want to actually open it, but that's fine. You can go from there.
Yeah, is this one
Uh,
good?
yeah, it's okay. So all I had to do, I already had all the research done. And actually, I was going to include one more flight, which when I went back to the link, it wasn't there anymore. It was gone. But I had already the research done, so I decided to put it to a book. Okay, and the book is a little pricey because I decided to go color. I don't make, like, I mean, I make like $7 per book, which, I mean, it's nothing compared to other people who sell books and they win like 300% on top of it. My profits like 7%, you know, but mostly because I wanted to present something nice, So the book is all color. That makes the book a little bit expensive, but it's free. There's a free PDF online you can download. Anybody can download. Actually, there has been thousands and thousands of downloads because it's free online. Okay, you don't have to buy unless you want to have one. But all I had to do is to put it together into a book, and I can go over some of those flights. For example, the flight from Bogota, Colombia, to Frankfurt, where the lady had a baby, is very similar to the one from Bali going to Los Angeles. So she had a baby, and they stopped in Manchester, which is 700 miles north of London. But if you go to the to the Walworth Great Circle routes, that flight was flying over France.
Mm,
They had Paris right there, but they landed 700 miles up north of London, and so many of them. When you it's just like when you put it on the flat Earth map, everything makes sense. It falls exactly on the line of those flights, and I can go one by one. Like we just had one. The lady died during the flight, and they didn't stop in Moscow. That's where they should have stopped, but the pilot decided to keep her dead, a dead body next to her children, for 8 hours until they exit Russian airspace. So they landed in Germany. So many of them, the one from Chicago to Doha, which should be flying south of Europe, he landed in Moscow. You know, I mean,
yeah.
16 on the book, but I could probably add another five or six or seven more because I don't think they are making public right now. I think they are trying to prevent the news channels to show that stuff, because it's really a giveaway. That's a really a giveaway.
Yeah, yeah, and also too, one thing I want to mention myself, when it comes to agriculture, myself, and many things about temperature. For example, if you're in California, for example, Sacramento, which is inland in California, and not too far away, in Lake Tahoe. I mean, relatively from a supposed sun in deep space, what 92, 93 million miles away, supposedly, in such a minute difference, you can have snow to where there's never snow, and it's literally just was it, I don't know exactly, a few hour drive. It's not that far. It's a very relatively close distance, but with such a distant sun, and to have such a drastic from never snowing to snow constantly, specifically winter. Lake Tahoe, people skiing, it's very famous. uh, you know, but what I'm getting at is, yeah, from such a distant sun and such a minute difference in distance on a so-called quote globe, and with this distant sun, it makes absolutely no sense. So these are avenues myself, dealing with agriculture as well. For example, let me see if I can find it here. I want to see if I can find. But what I'm getting at is this. Um, I'm not going to show. I'll just explain it because it's not worth the time to look for the actual map. But they have a map, for example, where you can grow avocado trees in the United States, and basically on the East Coast it goes up very minutely up the shore, but on the West Coast it goes all the way up past Oregon, and it basically, what it comes down to, what I'm getting at is it favors tremendously the circling sun. It's just like it's a perfect pattern off where the sun goes through. Um, the equator region where it circles around and comes all the way through up Oregon, where you can grow avocado trees. Where on the opposite side, you can't at all. So yeah, there's a lot of things that people don't consider in the flat earth truth. But yeah, that's another thing too. I remember hearing from in a video years ago from a guy that's dealing with agriculture, said the same thing. He goes, it's just amazing how, seeds, little seeds can defy gravity where oceans can be held down, so there's a lot of things, and looking at all facets. And again, getting back to you, having a master's degree, and again, the exact was it emergency, what was it called? What was the exact title again?
Emergency management.
I keep forgetting. Emergency management. And so that
Yeah.
get you involved in this field. So what I'm getting at is all these different people in different walks of life. It revolves around where they can discover, hey, we're living on a flat earth. And unfortunately, people are not brave enough to speak out about it, because obviously not saying anything financially is more beneficial, just to keep their mouth
Yeah.
closed, and they're not ostracized, and they'll be called a crazy person, and it'll destroy their career, destroy their income, and they're obviously don't want to go in that direction. It's a shame. I think what happens is, as we move forward, and more and more, hopefully, this gets more and more powerful. People get used to the idea. There's anything new. It's like, I make this analogy. You being in Japan, it's like you having Japanese food for the first time. You probably reject it, but after a while, now you probably enjoy it and like it. But
Yeah.
it takes time, just like the mind. It takes time to absorb and process and get used to new things. And when people are creatures of habit, and that works with the mind, of course, as well. So just society getting used to the idea, and definitely everybody knows, or should know about your TikTok videos. You've been presenting on your channel with many different ones, and like you said, moving forward, it might be difficult doing that moving forward, but you did a great job consolidating a lot of those videos. And yeah, we need more people like that. Obviously, it seems to me a lot of these people are much newer to flat Earth, but it's great to see new, fresh blood, and this has to grow. We don't want to see
Yeah.
this plateau. We have to see that constant growth. And I think moving forward, that's why I know, just like you and me, we'll never give up on this very important foundational truth of this world. God's created world.
You got it. One more thing I want to tell you about Japan. If you go to the countryside, they still live in the old ways. So they do a lot of things based on the lunar calendar. They don't do about the sun calendar or the heliocentric model. So it's much easier for them to understand the reality of the flat Earth because it's part of their culture. The language. Somebody pointed in the chat. Yes, the kanji language, the Japanese language. There's a lot of biblical meaning, a lot. And I was talking to another Japanese student that I have, and she was saying she's not even Christian. She follows the Japanese Shinto, but she knows the Japanese language has so many connection with biblical truth. The firmament, the dome, the Noah's Ark, the 8 people. That's the kanji for boat. I mean, there's a lot of connection. So when one of my first meetups that I had, there were Christians in Japan, and it's a tiny minority. It's like 99.9% Buddhist or Shinto and 0.1% Christians. Okay.
Wow.
So when I go to the meetups, I have 3 or 4 Christians and perhaps 20, 30 Buddhists. I mean, we get along, we have our Japanese food, and they respect me, I respect them. But it's really part of their culture. It makes them, it's so much easier for them to see. Of course, there is financial problems. Just like I told you, I cannot monetize my channel because I talk about flat Earth. Anybody who talks about flat Earth will have some financial losses, okay, including the Japanese people. So a lot of them keep it to themselves. You got it, some of those right there.
Yeah, and this is what the boat. And let's take a look. This is vessel 8 people, which obviously matches Noah's Ark.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, that
A lot of them,
garden is dust, breath, 2, enclosure, garden. But a big one's enclosure, garden, and person. So it's really amazing. All these things that we see. Here's flood. It's kind of hard to see there, but you guys
I
get
can
the
see it.
idea.
I can see it.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things here. But what really gets me is this one here with the
I think the garden has a man and a woman inside the garden. That's the thing.
yeah. Let me see here. Let me see the garden again. Where is it at here? Yeah. Yeah. Let me see here. Where's the what? Yeah, garden right here. It says dust, breath, two persons, enclosure, and garden. Yeah, and all these
Yeah.
things. It's really, it really. I mean, there's so many proofs of the biblical truth. But again, once people, here's the thing is too. I should say this. I seen and I'm not going to mention names. I seen people that are like anti-Bible, quote flat earthers, but they'll have like someone doing yoga behind them, doing the 666 hand sign on a poster. They'll have a tattoo with the all-seeing eye within a pyramid. So they're like wearing the symbols of the enemies. And I'll just say it. I'll just say one named Dell in Scotland, flat earther, quote flat earther. He has all the satanic symbolism all over his body. I mean, drenched all over his body. And anything regarding the Bible, he will dismiss. Even though, again, like I said earlier, he keeps talking about, and we all talk about living in an enclosed system. We need a pressurized system. We need a container for containment. We need to have pressure. You need containment. But if it's mentioned in the Bible, I can't use that because it's the enemy. It's like, it's like the Satanists that hate God's word, hate God's book. I cannot use that because instead of saying, like I said earlier, not to be repetitive again, but it's saying, yeah, it's interesting. I'm not, quote, if you could say, I'm not a Bible guy, but yeah, it says it right there in the Bible. They refuse to do that. All of them, they don't want to even go there. And it tells me there is a network that do not want to push the Bible in a positive way with flat earth. So again, just giving you partial truth. And it's like this, the best analogy I have, Eddie, if I gave you directions to my house, 95% all the way truth, and then the last turn, the last exit to my house, I tell you to take a right instead of a left, and then now you're off course. So you were almost there, but I gave you the last road. I told you to take say a left instead of a right, and now you never got to the destination. And to me, the destination is the Creator, God, and the God of the Bible specifically. And that's, to me, everything's around us. The evidence is there, but ego, the ego of a lot of men, and specifically, I'm not going to mention names again, but certain individuals promoting, artists that have satanic symbolism, musicians, so-called truth speakers that throw up devil horns, and they wear Baphomet T-shirts. They consider them good people and real heroes or whatever. But the people speaking biblical truth, we push them to the side. So, yeah, we're going to be the minority here, but that's okay because it matches up what the Bible says. Where the road to destruction is wide and the narrow path because few find it. So here's the thing: is I'm trying to get right to it. Normies or people in flat earth, whatever, everything that's happened is intended to happen. The blinded mind cannot see. The eyes become useless. So we like fret over people that don't get the biblical truth, the biblical flat earth. But that's up to God for them to have their eyes open. Only God can open eyes. We can present the information, but if they're not right with God, God's not going to let them see this truth. Like it says in the Bible, how God senses, this deception, through this world for those that are not meant to see the real truth. And I think that's basically what's happening. It's not like handing over someone a slice of cake and here you have it. It's got to be within you. You got to have the right mindset, the right path. You got to be a believer. If not, you're never going to get this truth. So we shouldn't be frustrated with those that don't get it because only God, again, could open eyes.
Yeah, yeah. It's a spiritual thing, Someone told me once, if it's a spiritual,
100%.
this revelation is really spiritual. If you don't have eyes to see, if the Lord doesn't open your eye, you're not gonna see it, you know. But some people see it and they don't want to accept. But that's them with God, you know. That's, you know, I have a Bible verse here I want to read.
Sure.
2 Corinthians 5:10 says, "For we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that everyone may receive the things done in his body, according to that he hath done, whether it be good or bad." So at the end of the day, those people will have to answer, you know. So I mean, w- you know, I mean, if God opened their eyes and they don't want to see, it's gonna be their own fault. They will have to answer for that.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing is, in in my estimation, my opinion, Eddie, and everybody listening in is people want to be liked and accepted in the mainstream, and also people want to be liked and accepted in the alternative flat Earth. So it's like a lot of these quote gurus on flat Earth that are quote the big names. People have to select someone. So what I'm getting is the people that were believing the mainstream initially, they're used to following. So they go back to following. And a lot of times they don't question the person that's presenting the information. Even though, for example, I'm going to use Dell as an example. When he was pushing how Earth must be moving up, this is what's causing quote gravity. So the majority of people went along with him because that's the cult leader. But there's one or two people in this chat that are longtime followers said, no, this Earth moving up is ridiculous, basically. And I salute them for that because they're people that are normally around that are questioning him, that had a mind of their own to say, look, I'm willing to question what he's saying here. You know, biblically, of course, the Bible says Earth is fixed on a foundation. So I tell people, question. You know, the Bible says, question all things. And this is the problem: is a lot of deceivers. They'll give you good information, one, two, three presentations, spot on. Then the third or fourth. Now here comes the disinfo. So it's like a net. They cast a net, giving the net is truth. They put real truth to pull you in, and then they feed you lies. And that's been a constant theme, not only in flat Earth, but a lot of so-called truthers that are disinfo agents. And yeah, and they don't understand that your soul's on the line, and it's to me it comes down to it's better to please God than please man. That simple, and people just they go with what you know again the foundation of want to be liked and accepted. They don't want to be an quote outcast in flat earth either. So that's a dilemma, but that's their choice. They want to take that path. But I tell people uh go with what can be proven to you, not what someone tells you. It has to be proven to you. It has to make sense. It has to add up. And also there has to be multiple pieces. Like when it comes to flat earth, it's not just one thing. It's got to be multiple pieces. And you definitely, we lay that out, and definitely you did a fantastic job laying that out today with this new information. And yeah, I greatly appreciate you, brother, being on my channel. I'm not sure how much longer you have with your phone because I know how much time does it look like?
Yeah, let's go for another 5 minutes for
Okay,
me
great.
on my side, okay?
Yeah, go ahead. Good.
I teach this afternoon, so I also have to get my stuff ready. But maybe we should do this again some other time. We can do. I will try to maybe go live. I've never gone live on my channel. I'm probably gonna try to do it maybe once every other week, and you always welcome, of course, to join. But
Thank you,
I don't have a date yet. Okay.
brother. Hey, anytime you want me aboard, I'm more than willing to join you on your channel. And everybody knows I can talk. I can go for 8-9 hours talking about everything. One thing about me, there's never dead air. There's always something to talk about because truth is never ending. The search for truth is never ending. And I say this all the time. Once we think we know it all, that's when we stop learning. So that's why we have to keep digging and digging and digging. And definitely I'm preaching to the choir with you because you're the number one guy, like I said, number one researcher when it comes to, and I'm not going to bash anybody, but I hear people speak. It seems like they're reading off a script. They're not like their heart's not into it. They're doing it for the dollar they're told to. And I just don't feel like certain people, I'm not going to say names, I don't want to start. I don't want the thing is I don't want to have you to have any static with anybody else in the quote flat earth community because I'm my own individual. You are as well. We agree so much, but I don't want you to say, "Hey, this guy's talking to me," or because you went on my channel. But if they're intelligent enough, they'll say, "Hey, you didn't say anything bad about anybody. It's me pointing out people, and you go after the Globers." but what I'm getting at is, I see real passion in people. I look at the intangibles with people. Are their hearts in it? I don't. Certain people when they present flat Earth, they're reading off a script. I don't hear a change in their voice. There's no excitement. There's no like passion. It's just again like they're like a robotic, and I like to see and feel like real emotion and real. Um, People are really serious and really. It's more than just they're doing it as a job. They're doing it because their love for truth. Like the Bible says. The truth. I'm not gonna. I'm gonna paraphrase. You'll find the truth, and the truth will set you free. Some will give me a hard time, but about not saying it exactly, but basically that's what it comes down to. And yeah, so there's a lot of people out there, even on my own channel sometimes, that are Bible deniers, but they're lost. They're lost because this world is going against it. And I understand that. When every angle you turn, everybody's in the flat earth community is talking against the Bible or trying to dismiss it or judging God and should God be worshipped? These kind of concepts like Jaron's pushing. Should God is God worthy of worship? These kind of things really makes me very upset, of course, to say the least. Pushing a lot of people away, from the God of the Bible, and yeah, so it's the agenda is very clear to me. Give you the shape of the earth, but that's not going to save your soul. This is a very important instrument, a very important road to lead you to the creator of the Bible. But the most important thing is, of course, the biblical truth of flat earth matches up with our reality. That's what I really want to emphasize. That's what your channel is all about as well. So this is a great combination, you and I speaking on this, because as far as I'm concerned, eye to eye, that's why I put you above the rest.
Thank you so much, brother. It was a privilege and honor for me to be uh, in your channel today. I want to send a big hug, much love to everybody in the chat and whoever is going to listen to this later. And we will probably do another one sometime. We do,
Absolutely, as
and
many as you want. Well, I'll join you as many times you ask me. I won't say no, brother. As many times you want to go live, I'm there, brother.
all right. Thanks, everyone. God bless. May the Lord bless each and every one of you. And Russian Vids was a pleasure and a privilege from my part. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Big
brother.
hug to you.
Big hug to you, Eddie, and God bless you, your family, and all the best. And looking forward to you speaking, with you in the future, and also looking forward to your edited version on your channel.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Take care. Bye bye. All right. Again, thanks so much to Eddie, the Flat Earth Banjo, in Japan from Brazil, for joining me tonight. I greatly appreciate. It's early morning in Japan. Actually, I think it's about, well, maybe not early now. I think it's about 11 a.m. or somewhere around there in Japan. But yeah, that was fantastic, and definitely I really wanted to be repetitive about his presentation, his discovery, and obviously full credit to him for something I never thought of when it comes to Chile in that earthquake and how it created tsunamis and the way it basically got pushed up all the way up to Alaska and Russia, and didn't basically uh, wrap around Antarctica, which makes perfect sense because obviously we don't live on a globe. All right, let's take a look at the chat here. One thing I want to mention before moving forward, I'm not going to do it tonight, but I'm going to go live again pretty soon, and that's because what's his name in Australia? I keep forgetting his name. Max Egan. Max Egan. For those that don't know, the Australians here know, like Aleko knows, and others in Australia. He's come out and spoke against me, calling me a CIA disinformation agent. he's done this back in 2015 as well. When I was making flat Earth videos back in 2015, he came out in a full out attack against me a way back when for making flat Earth videos. And recently he's come out saying how I'm an agent, and that's yeah. I'm gonna touch upon that, I'm gonna try to do that relatively soon. We've been going over 3 hours now here. I don't want to mix the two. You know, I really want to stick to flat Earth on this one, but definitely, we'll see. Hopefully, in a few days, if I can, we'll touch upon that. And basically, he's downplaying symbolism, which obviously that's my forte. That's what I really touch upon, and we'll really break that down, and we'll get into that. And yeah, let's take a look at the chat here. Yeah, yeah, and Max Egan being 33 as well. Just obviously not his real name, but yeah, I think it's spelled. Yeah, you spelt it right here. Yeah, there we go. I think that's the correct spelling of him. And yeah, and he fell asleep, and I saw that. Actually, I saw that where he supposedly fell asleep during the flight. I don't know what the deal is with him, but he called me out. He called out. I think he called out PK as well in that same video. But whatever the case is, I'll definitely touch upon that moving forward. And yeah, I appreciate all you here and everybody saying God bless to Eddie, which is well deserved. And let's see here. Thanks, Karen. I appreciate that. Yeah, Sunflower as well. And John 14:6, Jesus Christ is God. Absolutely. And everybody else here. Yeah, and the mainstream is flooded. Here's the thing is people need to understand with all the show talk. Do you think all the people running this world, running this satanic freak show that spends basically billions of dollars to deceive, humanity, they're not going to throw a few bucks into deceivers on YouTube to control the narrative here as well? Of course they are. Of course they're going to have their stooges on YouTube as well. And definitely the stooges showed up in 2016 in droves out of the shill factory. Let me see here. Yeah, thanks again, Aleko, for showing that there. The our brother Flat Earth Banjo, Eddie, his channel again. Definitely click on that link, and yeah. And amen, brother, as well to you. John 14:6. And from Acts 2:20-21, KJV, and it shall come to pass that whoever shall call on the name of the Lord shall be saved. Thanks for that, brother. Well, I think I said this before. I don't think discernment could be taught. It's a gift from God. It's can't teach discernment. It's from God. God gives discernment to those that are willing to listen. There's a lot of obviously God haters of the Bible on YouTube, and yeah, they're flooding that nonsense all over YouTube, unfortunately. Thanks again, brother. I appreciate that. Thanks, Tiffany. Yeah, doing pretty good, hopefully. And here's the thing is too, worst case scenario, everybody go to RV Truth on Facebook or Russian Vids on Twitter, and that's where you'll find out where I'm at. So if you wonder where I'm at, those are the two places you'll go. You'll find me. And any new channel I might make or whatnot, it'll be posted there. So you don't have to wonder, who's who. All right, everyone. I'm gonna been going on for 3 hours and 15 minutes. I want to thank everyone once again for joining in. And again, Eddie. And since I'll be doing a live stream relatively shortly, again, what is today? Today is Wednesday. Oh, it's already Wednesday. Okay, Tuesday. Anyways, so I'll try to do a stream. I don't know, maybe Friday. We'll see, Friday or Sunday. One of those 2 days I'm going to select. I'm not sure yet, and we'll talk about other topics. Um, you know, regarding the world stage, and definitely, like I said, I'm going to hit upon symbolism and Max Egan calling me a disinfo agent. Give me a break. What a joke that is, coming from that goon. Anyways, on that note, thanks again, everyone, for tuning in. Eddie, once again, thank you, brother, for joining me on this live stream. And until next time, which should be very soon, take care and God bless. See you all very soon.